Welcome to Hurrdat Sports Live.
There's a goal! Tampa Bay has tied it. Off the ricochet out in front, Lilleberg's possible response. And they're tied at 1. And they score again! Back-to-back goals!
Up high, Harley shot off the blocker, falls in behind Blackwood. Get dude perfect on the line. The trick shot.
As they try to put the finishing touches on the Miami Heat. Ball broken up. Javonte Green.
Around Brooks to flip it up and in with the left hand. Galen Green, and they take it away from him again. Buddy Hield running. Buddy Hield to lay it up and in. Ime Udoka takes time. The Warriors have 7 points off Rocket turnovers.
Good morning. Welcome into Hurrdat Sports Live, presented by Centris Federal Credit Union. That's DB. I'm Ravi Lulla here at Hurrdat Sports Bar and Grill. What's up, DB?
How we doing?
Can I just tell you a little bit something about one of the clips that Shane played there?
You could tell me whatever you like.
So my Warriors won last night. Was happy about that. See them go up 3-1.
Yeah, just slid inside the number. I told you to sprinkle a little on the old money line if you wanted to get greedy. Well done in one area.
Got the plus 4.5, easy.
Here's the thing.
Yeah.
That's a bad last 50 seconds for
the Rockets?
For the Rockets.
It really was.
Yeah, their red glare was Uh-oh.
Uh-oh.
The Rockets. Red glare.
Uh-oh.
Uh-oh. Yeah, it was definitely
little Carl Lewis there.
Yeah, it was definitely an uh-oh. It was pretty muddy.
Can I say this though? So for a long time, I remember watching Buddy Hield at Oklahoma.
Yeah.
And for a long
And you're like, what is he doing with those incisors, and how does he not use a mouthpiece? That's not what you thought?
There's a lot going on there. That's not what that's not what I thought though.
Hey, listen, I'm just here for entertainment. Don't mind me.
It is a little distracting.
I'm funny.
No, I meant his teeth, not you.
Yeah, though. I mean, hey, that too.
Hey, we're out here, right?
Uh-oh. The Rockets. Red glare.
Red glare.
What were they doing, though?
What do you mean?
Besides tinkling it down their leg.
Well, I mean, listen, they don't have championship pedigree.
As one Micah Benning said, this was over the weekend. I'm too young, Dad.
Yeah.
Too young.
It's a little...
Well, what do you know, pup? Huh?
Listen, he's maturing.
He's funny. I don't know why that dude likes you, but
you say this about all the members of your family. First,
because they got to hang around you more. Like I don't know. That's kind of bumming me out.
It seems like the more they hang around me, the more they like me.
I said, how was he at the barber shop? He said, oh, he was cool, man. I asked my barber. He said, oh yeah, one of the fellas, man. He sat over there and just chopped it up. Said he probably wondered why there was no one else in here. It's a slick setup, though.
It is. It's a nice spot.
And he does appointments, so
yeah,
it's no.
The only other person in there was a guy walked in, made an appointment, and left. Like he didn't call him. He just walked in.
Yeah.
Set it up right there. Then was out.
He's an IG guy, so you can book him on Instagram.
Oh, nice.
On Instagram.
Well, I remember at your party.
Yeah.
He had the earpiece in. He was like working the whole time.
Yeah, and what time was that?
It was like midnight.
Yeah. Oh, that's how he gets down.
He was like booking appointments.
My man was like, hey,
getting after it.
Where'd you get that butterfly cannon? I don't know, man. My crazy friend bought that. I don't have that kind of account.
Listen, it was 50th. Gotta get the nice tequila for the 50th.
Man, I need to revisit that.
That stuff's good.
Yeah, that's what I'm gonna do with all the money I collect from your winnings.
Oh yeah?
Yeah. I'm gonna go upgrade.
You're not quite there yet.
I know. I Googled. I said, oh, that can sit in the store for that.
You're going to have to win a few more.
Only a few more. So I'm at 40, right? Yeah, I got to.
No, you're at 60 now. Draft,
yeah, that's right.
The draft got you to 60. Look how honest I am. Look at that.
And you know what? But you get rewarded because, like, good things happen.
Yeah.
Right? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I got to double that thing and then some and hope that the taxes ain't too crazy.
Well, I only go 20 at a time, so you got a few to go.
No.
I'm not going to double up 60.
And I need to try to get greedy on one. I will say one thing, though.
What's that?
This is the Dallas Stars that I thought we were getting at the beginning of the season.
Oh, yeah.
This is the team that I picked to win the Cup.
Yeah.
So,
Well,
no offense. I mean,
good
I'm not
timing.
hating on you, Shane. I love you. You're my dude.
Good
Although
timing,
I
though.
really need you to take that hood and baseball cap. You look like
You look like a penguin.
he looks like he's gonna steal.
See you later.
Are you gonna take something that doesn't belong to you? You look kind of shiesty, like poo shiesty.
Kind of like Dallas took that game last night.
Dallas is grimy, man. The Avs,
They get a couple lucky goals in there.
Avs are gonna have to dig a little bit. And DeBoer.
No, they're going to have to step it up. I mean, their bigs are going to have to. I mean, they get their forwards are going to have to play.
They got to skate, man. And you
better.
need a little bit more. You're just not quite grimy enough. Like
Frank?
Well, they gotta win back behind the blue line. Yeah. They just
like the fancy puck handling that McKinnon does isn't gonna.
So they're
win that
notorious
game.
for that.
Yeah,
they're notorious. They always
they're
have to make
great
the
at that.
perfect pass and the perfect play. They're
Little too
very
pretty.
They're a very pretty team, and the Stars are just like,
Nah,
yeah,
not about that life.
No, they're not.
They're not having it.
And they're not even healthy. Which,
Yeah.
by the way, good on me.
Mhm.
You would be so proud of me this morning.
I am so proud.
Yeah, seriously.
Yeah. What happened?
So, I was, of course, getting ready to get in the shower, going through my routine. I did not play Tommy Tough Balls this morning
Okay.
because it's very hard for me to lift my leg over the shower.
Mhm.
And I knew I wasn't going to make it. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to let the shower wall in my face break my fall. I did not try to tough it out. Dunk.
Okay. So when the options are tough it out or catch myself with my face, tough it out's actually the better option.
Yeah. I was like, oh, it's kind of stuck over the ledge. Do I scramble?
You're like, no.
Yeah, it was a slow timber. Dunk. I was
Like Kesha.
so I thought I had enough clearance of the knee bend.
Yeah.
Nah.
Did not.
Mm-mm. And we weren't going to panic. No, we just protect your teeth and eat it with your face. I'm telling like timber, like slow.
Just slow motion.
Because I only had one leg in. I never said, "Dunk." I said, oh, this is
She's
embarrassing.
like, oh no, we're going down. Oh no.
So it was like, and she totally gets it from me. I could hear it in the hallway. She's like, what the? Save it, girl.
She go, did you fall on your bunda?
Nah, knocking on the door. Hey, don't come in here. I'm scrambling.
We're struggling a little bit
Yeah,
this morning.
so I let the shower wall break my fall.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was
You
cool.
don't look any worse for the wear, so that's a plus.
No, but so I was after I recovered, I remembered that. And stop laughing. It's not even that funny anymore.
It's a little
Shay.
funny.
What happened?
Caleb brought some of the fellas home last night, and I had all the heads, the bobbleheads.
Oh, yeah.
I wouldn't say they were in his area, but I wanted to make sure it was whatever.
Mhm.
So I put them away.
Oh, no.
You and your own nose.
Well, I'm concerned because we don't have any bobbleheads today.
I forgot them.
Oh, no.
Man, traumatized.
Who would you have gone with this morning?
So I was thinking about going with back with Dion
Yeah.
and Phil Snow.
Ooh, why Phil Snow?
So I wanted Phil Snow because I was asking some of the guys last night about Saturday and reps versus not reps and guys lobbying and not lobbying. One of the guys was Donovan Jones.
Mhm.
Danny King was over. By the way, I made big burgers.
Yeah?
I mean big. Big. They were loaded big.
Yeah.
Because Zoe had a game. So I wasn't going to get them on the smoker till late. So they were already ready. And huge real beef hot dogs.
Mhm.
So like 6 and 6. I didn't eat not one
so
thing
they
that I
wiped you
pulled
out,
off the
didn't
grill. I mean, and Donovan's such a good eater. There was salad, and he like put his potatoes on this. I said, "Oh, you're not one of those guys that minds if your food tastes." Like, nah, man, just keep giving it. I was like, damn, there will be no leftovers. It's like,
Nothing for DB.
I mean, not a thing. I had so I had some old wings.
Yeah.
I had like 4 and an old piece of. It's a long story why I had a fillet left, but it's like I warmed it back in the oven.
Yeah.
And he goes, "What are you on the carnivore?" And I said, "Kind of, but I'd like to be eating a little fresher food." But I didn't say
I'm
that.
on the all my son's friends ate my food diet.
Yeah, man. I tore that thing. There's just I don't know how you can afford it.
Yeah.
Yeah, money gone.
Yeah.
Light it up.
Remember whenever I'm like, that's why I don't have kids. That's one of them.
Man.
They're expensive.
Yeah.
Not trying to do that.
Zoe took the collar last night. That's another reason why you don't have kids. 0 for 3 with 3 of them.
Caleb likes me too.
Unfortunate. Unfortunate. Yeah, so I'm just now getting my bearings back.
Yeah. Trying to lock in.
My morning routine was off.
A little bit off today.
It was off.
You know, I was watching the Warriors game last night, and it was about the best version of Buddy Hield you're gonna get.
Yeah. Nice teeth and all.
And I was still like, man, I still think this guy sucks.
Really?
Yeah. I hate watching him play basketball. I hate it.
So
And he's a guy, you know what's funny is he's a guy I used to want. Like
Yeah.
whenever trades would kind of come up, I'm like, man, they should be a Buddy Hield. Like the numbers are good, shoots it good from 3. He's kind of big body. He's like 6'7", I was like, oh man, they should go get Buddy Hield.
Yeah.
They finally go
He's kind of a weird build too, isn't he?
He is. He's kind of goofy looking.
Yeah.
Besides just the teeth.
Little frumpy body.
And they go out, they get Buddy Hield, and I start watching. I'm like, no, I don't like this guy at all.
I know I brought it up, but what do you have against pretty big teeth?
No, it's just it looks like they're too big for his face. Like it's a proportions thing,
Shane, I am glad you took the hood off. Did I shame you? If you're cold, it's fine. You can rock the hood. I'm just not a hood and a baseball cap guy.
It's okay. It's a little chilly.
Do you want to put your hood back on? You can. I feel like you need my permission. You don't. You're a grown up, kind of. Boy, the fallout from that is wild, isn't it?
Which one?
The whole Shedeur.
Yeah.
I'm just thankful for the opportunity.
I am glad people are actually taking some umbrage with Dion, though.
Yeah, we talked about this yesterday, and I was thinking a lot about
my teeth. Speaking of which,
your teeth. Are they hurt from catching your fall?
Or the floss picks that I use.
Oh,
it might be that, but
a little aggressive on the floss this morning. You gotta be careful there. You're supposed to stop when you get to the gums.
I actually enjoy it. It's therapeutic.
The flossing or the hurting?
The flossing.
Okay.
No, not the hurting.
I don't know, man.
Why sadomasochist or
Just
something?
do it like a
I
wellness.
know you think I enjoy killing.
Just doing a wellness check over here.
Which, by the way, my man DJ, you know what his minor is gonna be?
What's that?
Donovan. He likes. He calls it crim. That's what the cool
Criminology?
kids. That's what the cool kids call it.
Oh, I'm minor in crim.
Crim. But he's very smart. He was like polling adults about what they do for their living versus what they went to school for.
Yeah.
And he's like, see, that's why I'm just going to keep my plate full. I need options. I'll find something.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, the heck with a major. I do wonder how many people have jobs and what they. Shane, I know you're the odd duck because you are doing exactly what you went to school for. Pretty much, right?
Yeah.
If I had to guess, I'd say it's under 30% of adults.
Anecdotally, it seems like it, right?
It's really low.
Yeah.
I mean, mine is not even in the neighborhood.
Mine either. Although I do have a endorsement in mild to moderate behavior disorder.
Yeah.
So it does come into play with you.
Almost everybody I went to
school. Self-management over there more than anything.
almost everybody I went to school with to be a broadcaster.
Touchy. With the little apostrophe, touche. I'm sorry.
Almost everybody that I went to school with,
Yes.
none of them are broadcasters.
Yeah.
And they all went to school to be broadcasters. So
It's very difficult.
yeah.
Yeah, I went to school to be a pastor.
Oh my gosh.
That didn't work. Found out that was a bad fit early.
I don't know if we've ever talked about this.
Have we not?
Not what your design was. I knew what you dabbled in.
Yeah, so
But that was your thing?
well, kind of. It's a
You
weird.
don't even like people.
No, I do not.
What you wanted to be the guy that said, I hope they burn in hell.
I do like talking though.
Wow.
No, so
The more you know.
I went to school to be a pastor. I was very I grew up in my mom's church and was
Ravi
very
and
involved.
TD Jakes.
Yeah, I was more of a Creflo Dollar guy myself.
Oh, I wonder what's speaking of teeth. That was like Arsenio's doppelganger. I wonder where old Creflo is these days.
I'm surprised you didn't hit me with the Benny Hinn up in here.
Yeah.
I think that guy was more my
you talk about shiesty.
Shedeur Brown.
That man was poo shiesty.
I used to think it was the funniest thing in the world. He'd be on at the same time as The Price is Right. So during commercials, The Price is Right, I'd flip over and watch him knock people.
You used to rock with old Benny?
I used to watch him knock people over. I thought it was funny as hell.
So when I was not, and maybe this was yesterday or the day before, so when I was not very smart, you realize, I thought he had a frozen food.
Benny Hinn?
Yes.
It was Benihana.
I know. I'm well aware. I love how you act like I clearly know that now. You even have to say that.
I just want to make sure. I don't want you to be confused.
Yeah, I messed that up. I was like, man, this dude is just franchising.
Hey, listen. I mean, in your defense, somebody that is kind of in that persuasion wouldn't surprise you if he was trying to make his money wherever he could find it.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
So it's not totally crazy.
I used to think that.
It's funny though.
But don't you like the things that I admit out loud? And you're like, I can't believe people listen to this dude. He's just not very smart. It's fine.
I mean, I feel like both of us kind of throw ourselves under the bus sometimes.
Yeah. I mean, just keeping it a buck.
We're out here, right?
Or as the kids say, I won't hold you. I won't even hold you, man.
I don't even know what does that mean.
It just when kid I
won't hold you to it.
I won't even try to get I'm just gonna keep it a buck. Do you know what I mean?
No, not at all.
Wow.
I don't spend any time around kids.
We're out here.
I don't know what any of that means. Is keep it a buck like keep it 100?
So who?
100? I was told you have to,
I used to work with a dude that couldn't say that either.
I was told you have to pronounce it HUNNIT.
Who told you that?
100.
Who told you that malarkey?
I consulted with some people.
Yeah. They look like Shane?
I don't know anybody who looks like Shane.
Under 5 foot. No, but by the way, I saw Ridge Lovett the other day.
Oh yeah.
Like a child just was out in the foyer.
Mm-hmm.
I almost said foyer, but that's the Criminal on Criminal Minds. It was a thorn in Hotch's side. But anyway, she knows I have an affinity for the wrestling team clearly,
Mm-hmm.
and they were doing signatures, and the radio show is before we moved to the new studio.
Mm-hmm.
It is connected to underneath the tunnels, and so the wrestlers were all doing this signing, and it was like Caleb coming to Zoe's softball game last night, right? Where everybody's like, ugh. She brings him over to me. Oh my gosh, it's Ridge Lovett. I say, I ought to give you a hug, man. I guarantee you this dude is like, what a weirdo. I want to ask him.
Yeah.
I'm like, hey, Ridge, was I too much? Was I too much?
Am I doing too much?
That's
a great question.
I know. By the way, this dude didn't get off the phone last night till 11.
It's a great question.
I mean, on one.
Is that why you weren't texting back last night?
Yeah, I had to go. I went dark, didn't I?
Yeah, you did
I
for a
was preoccupied.
I was like, oh man, that's weird. Because usually we're like watching games and texting.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. I didn't get off. It was a late one.
Chatting it up.
Mm-hmm.
I got you.
Anyway, I want to ask him, was I a little over the top? I felt like I was kind of fanboying.
So,
but the only reason I brought him up is because he's a little guy.
Yeah, he's not big.
Oh, no, a little guy. You know how they kind of look yoked because they're just little.
Yeah, they're stocky.
Nah, dude is teeny.
Really?
Oh yeah, I went inside elbow to inside elbow on the hug.
So he's smaller than me.
I don't know anybody smaller than you, Shane.
No, he's not, because he's probably, he's a 52-pounder. So he's bigger, but not really.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like Bud or somebody. Like when you see.
Yeah, Bud's not a big guy.
You see him with.
I mean, you don't want any of that smoke, but
with
he's not
Shannon,
a big guy.
it was like. Shannon is significantly bigger than this dude, but I forget about Bud's real size.
Yeah.
Like, he's just not a big guy.
Well, I remember I used to, when he would go play summer league, and you'd see him around basketball players. And like he'd give him the business.
You talk about irrational confidence. That dude would come out there like he was like Dwan Wagner or somebody, like headbands.
He would get streaky though. Like
I
sometimes
know.
he would give it to people.
I know. I'm telling you,
And nobody could stay in front of him.
He is a sensational athlete.
He's
He's
really,
got this awkward long. He can rake too. He
Really?
can hit a ball a long way.
Really?
Yeah.
That's not surprising because you kind of got like, I don't know why I think these are similar, but sort of like short, like that short power
and
that you get with a punch.
He swings a bat left-handed.
Okay, so he's got that jab hand.
Yeah, so he's like,
yeah.
It's
I don't know. It seems like there's a similar.
It's just hard
like,
to get. It's hard to
body.
gauge body types.
Yeah, no, but you see him with the like nobody could stay in front of him, but he just is not a big guy because he's, I mean, probably about my height, but he's pretty lean.
Yeah,
you know.
I was trying to guess Donovan's weight last night, and when the first number started with a 2 and the next one wasn't a 0, I was like,
really?
It's close though.
Yeah,
I mean he's just
like 210, dude.
He's a big kid. I mean Caleb's 201.
Yeah. Well, that was when I was watching the Baxter event that we did, or that you guys did.
Yeah.
I was.
Well, I mean, it was a Hurrdat.
Yeah. But you guys were actually down there.
No,
I was.
man. The Royal.
The Royal.
I'm not doing that. I almost did. I'm not. I say that for. It's a little weird.
He looked big. Like he looked like he had yoked up a little bit.
I said, because they got him out of there after a couple series, and I said, "So how was it, man?" He's like, "Man," he goes, playing the strong is a little different. I think they wanted to see some physicality, and after I don't know, he could have ruined a life. And your boy was like, "Hey, man, good looking out, Caleb." He's like, "Yeah." He said that the staff, like, to the philosophy of what they want to do.
Mm-hmm.
He said if you're going into the game relatively whenever, whether it's soon or you're in the road, whatever, you got to be able to know all 3 spots now. So I'm like, fudge, really? That sucks.
So they want what? Free, strong, and rover.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
that's a lot. They're vastly different.
Yeah, I don't know that.
I mean, just not being in the box for a while and then being in the box,
right?
It's tough.
Like,
but they do so much 2 to 1, like 2 high to 1. Like they will play some 3 against 3x1s and 2x2s, and I'm stealing all of it. All of it.
Yeah.
Because there are some things we just auto check out of.
Yeah.
And you don't have to. Now I need some help from Coach Lamanji. Or more like his permission. Can I? No. But they do some cool things. It just had me, just talking to the guys, and Danny, he's super smart, tight end, good cock strong looking dude. And just to hear him go back and forth about what do they like being tipped off, like formation recognition and stuff like that, and coverages, and to see him go back and forth. And I'm like, if you guys could actually think like this pre-snap and not just at the dinner table, you probably have a chance. But if they do that, and they are multiple, you may not need as stout a D-line play as some of us are kind of holding out. Because what's the big takeaway after spring so far? I have questions about the
defensive line,
D-line.
Yeah, I don't. I'm fine.
And I wonder if it's because everybody thinks the offensive line is so good.
Yeah.
Not that I don't, because I told you, I was like,
that's part.
I think I called in the car. I was like, oh my God, I don't know if these guys are really good or that D line is just bad, but I'm overly impressed with that offensive line. Thoughts? Like, well, DB, I wasn't here, man. I guess you need to tell me. I don't know, Robbie. I just need somebody to talk to. I don't like that response. Click.
It's actually, I think, a pretty accurate reenactment of what happened.
Well, I had to tell somebody.
No, I appreciate that.
I'm like, now like these guys think they can play 10 guys, and if Corcoran and some of these guys are like filling in and they're not your guys,
yeah,
that's pretty good.
That's the thing. If you don't have to rely on Prohaska or Corcoran, you feel pretty good about that.
Yeah,
because those guys.
So I just wondered, is this going to be at the D line's expense? But if they're able to be multiple in the back 7, which Coach Snow talked about from the jump, I mean, his first presser, he's like, I want to be multiple and show some different looks on 3rd down and get off the field on 3rd down. And sometimes I want to show some hug pressures and get out. I'm like, oh, yeah, man, dude's done his homework. Or cross training or whatever. I'm like, you can kind of get away with it because the other thing that they've been talking about is affecting the quarterback. Like, that's the term, right?
Yeah.
Got to affect the quarterback. Sometimes you can do it with the rush. Sometimes you can do it with pre-snap looks. You may have some versatility there. I don't know.
I'm still on the D-line train.
Yeah, and I don't think you have to get off. Like, I'm not poo-pooing it. I just think
no, but that's a question a lot of people had.
Yeah.
Coming out of spring. I'm fine with it. I haven't seen or heard anything that makes me think anything other than the D-line's going to be good. Now it's going to look different. That's, I think, what people have to get used to is it's going to look different than it did last year. Different isn't always bad. There's going to be some areas where there's not as good. There's going to be some areas I think they're better. I think they're going to be better at getting into the backfield. Whatever that looks like, whether it's on tackles for loss, on running plays, quarterback pressure, sacks, whatever that is, I think they're going to be better at being disruptive. I think they're probably going to be a little less consistent in terms of the down in, down out stuff. But that's where
you think there'd be a little splash. Is splashier the word, or is it more splashy?
I think probably more splashy. I don't know that splashier. Maybe splashier is a word. I don't know.
They might be a little more.
I think you're going to have more like explosive plays from the defensive line.
Yeah.
But you may be sacrificing a little bit of that consistency you got with Ty and Nash. I understand that. They're going to play differently with different guys.
More surprised to see Segrin or Automanelli hit the portal?
I guess Segrin, but I'm not shocked.
Okay.
Because if you've got Hahn and John Hole and Alvano, you're probably not carrying 3 kickers on if you're starting to work rosters down, even if it's grandfathered in a little bit. Or if you're a third kicker, you're probably not thrilled to death about never seeing the field, right? So that doesn't shock me. I'm a little surprised with Segrin just because of how well they talked about him in the spring. But what did we just talk about?
Yeah.
If the offensive line is that deep and you're Segrin and you're sitting there and you go, I don't know if I've got a path forward here. Because a lot of those guys are young, too. Like, yeah, you've got a Rocco Spindler in there, but how many of those guys are actually leaving? And then you've got more behind them.
Yeah.
Right? Like that, they've done a really good job kind of stacking that offensive line group. And so if I'm sitting there and I'm Segrin and I go, okay, maybe I'm good enough to play. I don't know if I'm going to be able to crack through these 10 or 12 guys that are ahead of me. That one, I get it. That's all I think that is. I mean, I don't have any information on it, but I don't think it's anything more than just, hey, I don't know what my path to playing time looks like.
Right.
I don't know that there's some big NIL conspiracy there or anything. I think it's just.
Yeah, on the heels of, portaling and, Sharmar and I mean, NIL is fine to the best of my knowledge. And it's so many guys willing to help. Like you'd be surprised. It's actually pretty cool. Like this is a good place. If you need to get by with a little help from your friends, and I think fans of the program that have financial influence or maybe have a business that can help you as an arm of being fiscally savvy. Like it's like a whole call to arms because they're very cognizant of what's going on. So somebody might break off a call and say, "Hey, listen, is there anything I can do to help in this situation that would help you land the plane?" It's just there's a lot of that out there. So
absolutely,
I think with regards to NIL, I mean, you always want an endless supply. But you do have a lot of people that I think are willing to get in where they fit in.
Yeah, listen, not that Nebraska has endless money or anything like that. I don't look at any of these situations as if Nebraska's like passing the hat, trying to collect, like, you know what I mean? I don't think a Segrin thing has anything to do with NIL. The Charmar Brown thing might have to do with NIL, but that's on his side, not on Nebraska.
Yeah. It's so interesting.
I think, at least.
I was very, I don't know. I probably need a few minutes because there's just so many factors.
There's a lot going on there.
There's just so many factors.
Cal comes in late yesterday.
So when he answered the phone, Cal is at the house.
Yeah. No, they're pushing hard.
I'm like,
they're pushing. Well, I mean, what have you said the whole time? Cal was pushing harder than everybody. Miami was going to have the biggest offer. Nebraska was home.
Yeah. And for Nebraska to even, and I said this last night, because there's this, who do we have? Is Schaefer today?
Yeah, we got Schaefer at 9.
Okay, so I'm going to ask, because he and I have talked he's really the only person that I've gone in depth with from start to finish over Marty. Like, number one, I trust him. Number two, it's like, I don't know. I just like the way that he thinks. So anyway, and he's not afraid. Like, he'll call. Like, hey, man.
What's going on?
Yeah, I sat in a parking lot. I'm 51 minutes.
Yeah.
I talked to Shay the other day. I know I was supposed to be doing something else. Hey, you know what else is funny? Todd, he thinks these stories are funny, but I forgot what I was supposed to get at the store, so I went back home. And I remembered, and I came back like 10 minutes later, and the dude, because he's always there, because I usually stop at the store at the same time, he's like, man, you got to get a list. Hey, between me and you, I was pissed because I was in my head. I was like, I don't write anything down.
I don't need a list.
I don't take notes. I don't do anything. But he's right, because I meant you should not go to the grocery store 4 times a week. You just shouldn't. I mean, unless you're a single dude.
That's aggressive.
It's dumb. But it's so close.
Yeah.
And never mind. Anyway, with regards to that, there's this narrative. I heard it from Tim, and maybe I don't know enough. So I'm willing to say that. But there's this narrative that Nebraska didn't have much interest until late. And I told you, like Dennis, because we have a Denny. Dennis said, hey, this is out there. I told you this story.
Yeah.
I'm like, well, where did you get that from? He said, guys in the industry. I'm like, well, just listen to me this time. Like, because this is pretty hands-on. But I did admit to him. I was like, I don't think you're crazy. Like, because this perception is out there that Nebraska was late to the party. I'm trying to figure out why.
Where that came from?
Yeah.
I don't know.
And I know Tim intimated it. Schaefer has intimated it. I kind of want to know what their intel says on the industry side, because they clearly have connects with guys either at Berkeley or Miami or whomever.
Yeah. I'm guessing, so I don't know if I didn't hear late to the party as much as I heard.
I could be paraphrasing wrong. That's
wasn't
fair.
as interested.
Yeah.
Right. And I think that just all came from the money portion of it. I think we knew that Miami's offer was bigger. I think we knew that Cal was being super aggressive and making the biggest offer they could. And I think Nebraska was playing it the way they play everything else, which is, hey, we like you. We want you. This is the number we think makes sense for us.
So, the numbers didn't come up until late.
Yeah. For Nebraska? I mean, maybe that's why they thought they were late to the party, because the number didn't come in.
So, the only person that bothered?
Who?
Is the agent.
Of course. Yeah, 100%.
It didn't bother the Marty at all.
Yeah. But think about.
So and that's not to overshare that, but that part's bugging me a little.
Here's the thing. Listen, where does this information usually come from?
I know.
People like agents, right?
I understand.
So that would make sense if the narrative is Nebraska was late to the party and Nebraska was the last offer to come in.
Yeah, because how are they even in the thick of it?
You know what I mean? That's
like, how's Nebraska even in the discussion?
Obviously, it's not a lack of interest. I mean, he spent all day down there.
Oh, yeah. And, there's way more. I'm going to wait till, the dust settles. But just the steps that were taken.
And the people that were involved.
I want to so bad. I'm not. But
I just think there is so this is kind of the tricky game that I think college recruiting people are going to have to get used to, that NFL and NBA people are already used to.
And I just hope the fan base sometimes
not good.
I don't know. I don't know why I let this one upset me.
Well, it's because you like Marty.
I do.
I mean, that's
and
why it is.
And Nebraska does too. So
and the narrative's just not accurate.
So it is, but it isn't. That's what I'm torn.
Okay, sure.
Between two lovers, feeling like a fool.
So what part is true?
Torn between two lovers, feeling like a fool.
So what part is true?
Because
Because I think I know the part that's not true.
what part isn't true?
That Nebraska's not that
I'm
interested.
just trying to buy time
Yeah,
so
I
I
know.
can bend my legs.
So you can figure out what you're allowed to say.
Yeah, that too.
So the
You
part
seem very hurt right now.
I am.
the part that's not true is that Nebraska's not that interested, or that they were late to the party, or that they have less interest in other programs.
Okay, so that's what that. Okay, let's.
That part's not true.
So let's.
I feel confident about that.
We'll take a break. We got to come back to this whole because this is going to be how Nebraska recruits, and I'm kind of over it.
Mhm.
I just am.
You're over
Whether-
Nebraska or the way people react to it?
I'm over the narrative.
Mhm.
The narrative, whether it's in state or, the radius or whatever the said recruit is, right? If Nebraska's early and people know about it, then everybody else offers. If Nebraska's quiet and doing their due diligence, they're slow to go. Like they can't win for losing. And this isn't necessarily about defending, but it's like, how do we decide which version of the story we want to tell with the same set of facts?
Well, you know how we usually decide whether they land the recruit or not. That's how we decide whether or not we like the process, which is a bad way to go about things.
Yeah, it's a lot.
We'll be back. More Hurrdat Sports Live coming up next.
Misfire. Brock Nelson finds Landis. Go.
The world champions, the Philadelphia Eagles select Ty Robinson, defensive tackle, Nebraska. Go Birds!
Give me that cheddar, we getting Rico. Big money rolls like burritos. Give me that hot sauce, no pico. Give me that. Give me that.
Yeah, I mean, the transition, we said this earlier in the meeting, was it today or yesterday, that this has been one of the easiest transitions in my entire career, from being a freshman to then now a returner, and now I'm a senior, and you thought that maybe a head coach could rock some things, and she's just been incredibly transparent, and that's helped me a lot with buying into what she has to offer here. So that's made the transition really smooth, but I honestly feel like, to answer your question, that is just the standard of Nebraska volleyball. I think Coach built an empire. He made a program so attractive that it will bring some of the greatest athletes in the nation, regardless of who's in charge. And now, a matter of who's in charge, that kind of is the cherry on top. But, I mean, truly, yes, Danny has added a lot, but regardless, we're going to try and go out there and demolish.
biggest differences you've noticed now at Nebraska?
I would say the biggest difference is, I would say, like, here, like, Nebraska, we have this thing like O-line pride. So, like, if one person messes up, everybody messes up. So if you're not playing to where the whole unit is playing, or like where we feel like we should be playing, they're gonna bring you along whether you like it or not. So I feel like when I first got here, I wasn't like aware of like the tradition and everything. But I feel like they've brought me along, shown me like, hey, like this is how we do things. Like O-line, we're always together, whether we're out together, we walk into the meeting rooms together, we walk into the weight room together. Like we do everything as a unit. So I feel like that has impacted me the most, like since I've been here at Nebraska. So
what was motivating you most during that tractor pull?
Oh, I couldn't even breathe. If you could see, if they have like the zoom in, like one of the harnesses broke and it was like choking me the whole time. I was like, hey, I guess I'm just down the field. I gotta beat the other man. So I was not losing no matter what the circumstances was. So I just had to see it through. So.
Aspirations can drive us. Sometimes a simple gesture is what fuels the pursuit of a dream. When it's time to make your dream a reality, we are here to help. Centris Federal Credit Union. We are where you are.
You're listening to Hurrdat Sports Live.
We're back here on Hurrdat Sports Live. That's DBM Ravi Lulla here at Hurrdat Sports Bar and Grill, reminding you keep those eyes focused and straight ahead. Don't get distracted while driving. As a driver, you've got one job. That is to drive. This message from the NDOT Highway Safety Office. As we heard from Matt Rule a couple weeks ago, he's got one job too. That's to win ball games.
No serving at two masters.
Can't serve two masters. It's not about, hey, I got to get these in-state kids, or, hey, I've got to get X, Y, and Z. Got to win ball games.
I have one job. It's to win at Nebraska.
And I think this has to do a lot with what we were talking about earlier with Charmar Brown and the transfer portal. Because I think there is a way Coach Rule feels comfortable navigating the waters, and certain guys aren't going to fit into that way. No matter how much they like them, no matter how much maybe the kid wants to be there. Like, there's a lot of things going on, right? And whether it's Charmar Brown or any other, I mean, we talked about this with Rocco Spindler a lot too, right? I don't want to just make this about Marty. And I think it's seemingly to a certain degree with Elijah Pritchett, seemingly the way things played out, is, hey, this is kind of what we're about. This is what we think you're worth on our roster. That's how we're going to go about business. We're not about leveraging. We're not about getting into bidding wars. That's not the way Nebraska wants to operate. What do you think it means when he says, hey, the desperate team sets the market? Why do you think Cal is still involved here in Marty Brown? Cal's the desperate team. They don't have a running back on the roster.
100%.
Right? So you can't go into this as Nebraska and think that you and Cal are operating from the same point of view, because you're not. Right? Even if there's no other factors, let's say it's just about dollars and cents. Cal can offer twice as much as what Nebraska offers, and by the time you get through taxes and cost of living, you're making less money.
Yeah.
Right? Oh. So 600 in Cal and 300 in Nebraska, like those are basically the same number.
Yeah, let's say 500 and 250.
Sure, whatever. Like, pick any numbers. I don't care what they are.
Hypothetically.
But like, just pick numbers, right? 500, 250, 400, 800. Like, by the time you get down to it, that number at Cal seems really fun and sexy, and yeah, like I'm making almost $1 million or $500,000 or whatever it is. That guy's just getting his hot girl walking. Don't worry about it.
Who dressed him?
Shane did with the hood up. Squirrel.
No, I need a full
timeout. What's up?
Are we back to doing the things with the leggings that come way below the shorts, like biker tights? Are we doing that now?
Was that guy wearing that? I didn't see that. I was focused
I'm not asking Shane. He hasn't done a workout in I don't know how long. No, I take that back, Shane. You do. I do think you're making a concerted effort to grow your muscles back. I like what you're doing with your body.
Say what you got to say.
How's the?
He's trying to look like Ridge.
Well, he's getting into the protein and he's doing push-ups. And you feeling better?
Yeah. Feeling pretty good. Feeling a little taller. Feeling like weigh a little bit more. Trying to get up to the 152. You know, that sort of thing.
Did you say 102?
At 152.
Be about $1.07 right now, $1.06.
I mean, I got a little ways to go. I mean, it's not that far.
I'm dead serious. Shane, will you be honest just one time?
You're going to ask me how much I weigh, and I'm not going to say.
It's not 110. Isn't that incredible?
Yeah.
It's not.
That's hard to do.
Good on you, Shane.
Man, I know what I bring to the table, so.
But no, I think there's a way that Rule wants to operate, and
Jake's right, by the way.
What's Jake saying?
You treat me like a fourth grader.
No, that's not true.
I do need to stand up.
That's not true.
I'm way
at
too
all.
nice to you.
That's not true at all.
Oh, I'm with Flaky Jake. This dude, and you guys are huge Golden State fans. I'm surprised you don't glaze one out together.
You know,
I mean, this dude loves him some Golden State.
I think he tags me on Twitter sometimes about Golden State stuff.
He's wild.
Yeah. I don't think I treat you like a fourth grader. I think I treat you like
And if he's as big a degenerate as he acts like gambling-wise, I think the only thing that dude turns down is his collar. He's a certified wackadoodle.
He's not popping that collar?
I don't know. I've been messing with Jake on social media for years, and I don't even think he's that old.
Really?
I bet he's not 30.
Really?
He might. No, I don't think. I bet he's not.
Jake, how old are you?
You can't just ask him.
Yeah, I can. It doesn't work for me.
Me the same Why don't you type it?
He's obviously listening. Jake, how old are you?
You're so.
What?
I don't even know why it bothers me. I think I'm still delirious from the headshot.
Yeah, I mean, if you catch yourself with your face, that might go poorly.
It's not like a hard wall though; it's a liner, so it gave a little.
Yeah, that's still not ideal.
No, I know. I know. Believe me, I know. It's like, well, guess I'm up now.
We're out here, right?
Woo. Yeah, and I had made a ton of progress too. So
with the knee?
Yeah, I feel better.
Yeah, that's good.
It's just
you're walking better
every now and again.
Yeah, you're walking better.
Yeah,
just seems like it's catching a little bit sometimes.
But whether it's Spindler or,
I mean, pick a guy. Like Marty's just the guy that's happening right now, but pick any guy, right? And we talked about this with Creighton. I think they operate in a very similar manner. Of hey, this is what we have to offer. This is where we see you, and we would love to have you here. But we're not going to get into the bidding wars and the leveraging and all this other stuff that comes along with it. And what I was going to say earlier is I think that I think our colleagues are very talented, obviously, like Schaefer and Tim and all the guys we talked to, right? I think they're going to have to be a little careful now that they're dealing with agents and where the information comes from, because agents have an agenda, right? NFL and NBA reporters have dealt with this for a long time. There's been times, even the best in the business, whether it's Schefter or Woj until he retired, or Shams now, right? Where you knew.
Who do you think, Shams? You guys got the same barber? He's got the little loop swoop. I mean, that thing is whipped like butter.
I think we've got I think we share some things. I don't know if it's a barber, but.
Shams spends a lot of time on his hair.
He does. He spends more time on his hair than I do, I think.
Oh, you touched it.
Do you think he does the spray and the hold?
Maybe. I don't know.
Is that mousse? Is that what you guys use?
I use a, I don't know what it's called. It's not gel.
Does it change the texture of your hair?
No. It's like it's a soft hold, so it doesn't. A soft hold? It doesn't like make it crunchy.
A soft hold?
Yeah.
Don't squeeze.
Yeah, exactly. It's like when you're on the offensive line and you're just holding a little bit.
You are kind of a soft guy.
Is that a real term?
I don't know.
Soft
That's
hold?
what I consider it.
That was weird. It's kind of a soft hold.
Well, you know, it still moves a little bit. It's not like encrusted in place.
Knock it off. Knock it off.
But no, I don't think that. I think I think college and high school recruiting guys are gonna have to get used to where the information's coming from, right? Because for a long time they're just calling whoever's connected with the kid and whatever and going that way.
I can't imagine really covering recruiting. To be
I think
honest.
it
would be increasingly difficult.
It's turning into a whole different thing, right? And we can ask Schaefer about it at 9, but I do think, like, to my point about Shams and Woj and Schefter, there's been times where, whether it's near a trade deadline or whatever, where one of them will put out a tweet or a piece of information that 90% of the free world knows isn't true. And they do it because they owe favors or they're trying to curry favor with the people that give them the real information. So every once in a while, they're like, hey, I'm hearing from sources that X, Y, and Z is holding out or this negotiation is going this way or whatever. And everybody knows that's not true. But it's part of the deal making of getting information with agents.
Yeah, and
or general managers.
I think
or whatever.
the real tricky part is a lot of times you're not even talking to the kid anymore.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like it used to be, you'd call the kid and be like, "Hey, how'd the visit go? How do you like it? Whatever."
Yeah.
And now you're talking to a handler or an agent or whatever.
Yeah. So the interesting, Will.
Yeah, Will's got my back. See. Pomade's the word.
He's such a like you could tell Will is like.
Oh, we've met him. He's been at.
I know that's what I'm getting. Like you could tell he's like a. I don't know about gentle. He could just tell he's a kind.
Yeah.
Right. He's kind of
got a good spirit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he's just throwing you a bone.
No.
I don't know if he's necessarily.
Did you see his hair? He's definitely
that Joker was whipped too.
He's not a he's a pomade guy. He would know.
Will's got a good barber too. He had the nice little fade.
He says my hairstylist wife has validated this info. Boom. His wife's a hairstylist. She's signing off.
So
on
that
it.
must be who does his deal.
Rubber stamp. We're good.
It's fine.
Soft hold pomade.
Soft hold. That's funny. Soft batch. That's what I want to say. Fresh out of the oven.
I do like some cookies.
Squinchy.
That's Pillsbury.
That too. Oh boy. Listen,
that looks uncomfortable.
Look how fat that Joker is.
Yeah, that's not great.
So I just at the end of the day, for all these guys, I joke about it. It's not funny anymore. The slow nickels or the slow dimes versus fast nickels and being able to see the future. I want everybody. This isn't just certainly not a Marty thing.
No, it's everybody.
Whether it's Spindler or any of these guys that are testing the market, right? Seagrin,
good for you.
Any of them.
I don't have
because they're doing all these interviews anyway, right? You got to start with your position coach, then you got to get to Coach Rule, and so there's these open, candid discussions. And for families and people in the trust tree, I don't know how hard it is to apply real time when you're in it, but my advice is always going to be, and Coach Rule kind of said it earlier about where are you getting the information from. And I get it, it's hard, but you have to be able to see just a few inches in front of your face. You have to be able to see more than just a few inches in front of your face. And sometimes it's a good decision. Like, for instance, my favorite tight end before he left, and he's still my favorite, was who?
Borcher.
But long before he was even a stud.
You love Borcher from the start.
Love Borcher. Love the family. So I know them pretty well, right? That was a very, very difficult decision.
Sure.
We're talking about a family that loves Nebraska. So they had to weigh the information. Okay. I know I'm starting to flourish. Like I'm a centerpiece, but man, I've been here 4 years. Like I may not be the best tester. I might be, but I may not be. So how can I get the most film?
Sure.
How can I get the most targets? How can I get the most? So you have all this information that they process through.
Which is all different than where can I get the most dollars?
Right. Now, the money's good.
Sure.
Right? But if he's healthy,
you want the film.
You want the film, and he's going to play a lot, right? See, that's a well-informed decision. It's the one that hurt me the most.
Sure.
Clearly, of all the guys that bolted.
Yeah. That's the one you like the most.
But it's the one I understand the most. See, I don't have any problems with that.
He made a decision that was likely best for him.
Just don't be the, because I want to groom young men too, right? That can like go tackle life and, get punched in the face and eat it and move on and not look for like the next quick fix.
You want young people that turn into members of society that you want to be around.
I don't get out of the quick fix business if you're a family member, because at some point you're going to need some skills.
Mm-hmm.
You just are. Like, you're going to reach a point, and it's going to be in the next 10 years where you're going to be 30, which isn't old, but old.
For a football player, it's getting
and
up there.
Somebody's not going to come with the next offer.
Mm-hmm.
So what have I developed in the meantime? Like, that's what
and that's true no matter how good you are.
Man, I'm just
right.
It just
at some point somebody stops coming with the next offer.
But what we've heard from Nebraska is this holistic approach to student athletes. Like, that's the way that they're combating the portal.
Can I ask you a question?
You can ask me whatever you want.
What if Marty came to you and said, "Hey, I value a Cal education so much that that's why I want to go to Cal"? What would you say?
I would ride with that.
Right?
Yeah,
that's different.
I would ride with that.
Because you're like, hey, that's a great school. Now, not that Nebraska's a bad school.
Listen, my sister spent double-digit years there.
Yeah.
And I'd say, Marty, the protesting's going to get on your nerves and you don't talk, put your head down and walk fast, get past all those people on campus with their signs. That's not you.
But you're going to walk away with great education.
But knock yourself out. I pat him on the back.
Yeah, but that's a whole different conversation if that's where it starts, right?
100%.
That's what we're talking about with well-informed decisions. Talking about well-informed, we're going to talk to Ryan Roberts of A to Z Sports about the NFL draft coming up next.
He is. He's a real deal Cowboy. Giving him a little crap coming from California. I didn't know. I wasn't sure how legit he was, and then I saw. I think it was yesterday. He hosted his own roping competition. That's when I knew I probably was in for a little bit of smoke. So that was fun.
Did he talk smack back to you at all?
He did a little bit. I don't know if they got it on video, but I guess he talked at some dinner last night, was talking a whole bunch of trash. So deservedly so, calling him a California Cowboy. So I had it coming to me.
I wouldn't say anything I've been able to change, but maybe an impact would be setting the middles and as much as we can. And, I think Becca had an awesome match, and she's taking to heart, we need her to kill balls, and that's going to be a big part of our offense. So to see her do that tonight was really encouraging. But I think our floor defense was really good all the way around, and we talked a lot about, not letting second balls drop and playing hard throughout the whole point. I thought they did that. I think there's only one ball that we'll look back on film and be pretty dissatisfied with.
Aspirations can drive us. Sometimes a simple gesture is what fuels the pursuit of a dream. When it's time to make your dream a reality, we are here to help. Centris Federal Credit Union. We are where you are.
Welcome to Hurrdat Sports Live.
Welcome back, Hurrdat Sports Live, presented by Centris Federal Credit Union. That's DB. I'm Ravi Lulla here at Hurrdat Sports Bar and Grill, where it's Tuesday. That means kids can eat free with the purchase of an adult entree. Make sure you get out here to Hurrdat Sports Bar and Grill to enjoy that sweet deal. We're going to actually catch up with Ryan Roberts tomorrow. He had a family thing he had to take care of this morning, last minute. So wish him the best, and we'll catch up with him tomorrow on the NFL draft. But that means we can continue our conversation.
Amazing Daniel asked where the fatheads were today. He didn't know I almost knocked myself unconscious.
He must be coming in late. He's got to catch up later.
Coming in hot.
Coming in hot.
And
yeah,
Dingaling came home, so I put them in a different spot, so they were not in my sight line either.
Yeah.
I was pretty bummed. Shane, did you hear my response when I got out of the truck, or were you too far away?
I thought you kept him in the car.
No, because I don't want them wrinkled.
Oh, okay.
I got a couple of more from the other day.
Did you?
Yeah.
You got new ones?
I got a couple of new ones.
Who are they?
Do you want to know one of them?
Yeah.
I'm gonna rock it.
Yeah.
I got Trump. he laughed. You're so stupid. I'm dead serious.
I know you're serious. I just think it's funny that's the one you went
Why'd
with.
you laugh? Okay.
I was not expecting
I'm not going to stand here or sit here for the condescending tone in which you just chuckled at me.
I was surprised.
I've had enough.
What did I do?
I don't know.
I was surprised that's where that was not on my radar at all.
Yeah.
Ding.
So I got the Donald. I have Eckler.
We've had Eckler.
Yep, and I got one more. I can't remember. So when I go there, I'm kind of at the mercy of their creativity.
Sure.
If it's just me and Terry here, I can make requests.
Yeah.
So I never know who's going to be in the audience at Old Valentino's.
Oh yeah, because you went down last week, right?
Yeah. They did think the Donald was pretty funny. I rock with them some of his thoughts.
Yeah, it was no, it's just off the beaten path from where I was thinking. I was thinking sports figures, so I didn't.
So I only have a few non-sports figures.
Yeah.
I have Elon.
Okay.
I have the Donald. I have Drake.
Oh yeah, I saw Drake up there. You put Drake up a couple days ago.
Yep. We didn't get to it. I have Kendrick.
Okay. You should put Drake and Kendrick up there at the same time.
That's too obvious.
See if they fight.
And I think that's all the non-sports. I have my sister, but that doesn't make any sense.
Well, I would say you've got you have one of Jay too, don't you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I have the most of her, but I took all those down.
Oh, what? They just like trolling you in the audience with your wife's face?
Yes.
That's kind of funny.
Yeah. It's mean-spirited.
Yeah, it's mean, guys. Don't do that anymore.
Super happy.
So I wanted to tell I got something for you. I wanted to run by you before we get too down this rabbit hole.
Mm-hmm.
So T-Mac and I have been having this discussion about the general manager prank.
Oh, okay.
Okay, because it happened to a lineman and it happened to Shedeur.
And there's been over the years, there's been several of these.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So my man T-Mac said something that I'm curious about to get your thoughts.
Okay.
THOUGHTS.
Sure. Not the other kind.
Not Shane's kind.
Gotta be careful there.
He said about the prank thing. Only GMs had the number. He is not a GM. He magically left his iPad open, and his son just happened to know the Shedeur cell number was on the iPad as he continued to slide down the draft board. Or did he know about it ahead of time, grab the number because no one else was going to draft him? When did he think to visit the house and to get the number? If it just happened after round one, maybe just like a prank. Maybe it was a prank, just like they say.
Mm-hmm.
If he visited weeks ago, how did he know to get the number and that he would be able to make the call about not being drafted?
So
now, all this is subjective.
I feel like maybe
I shouldn't have given you those, Shane.
I feel like maybe we're
let's not forget Shallow.
Signed a free agent contract.
He's stupid.
I feel like maybe we're doing too much here.
Do you?
I do.
That surprises me.
I mean, I'm not really a conspiracy guy. Because some of those
just went all in on a colleague of mine yesterday, but you're cool with this?
Well, yeah, these are different scenarios.
You're a dummy.
At least the charity's getting $1,000.
What happened?
So sometimes I think the simplest explanation is the right one.
Sometimes I dream that he is me.
Enjoy Big Red Wrap Up tonight.
Good morning again.
I should know you're busy tonight. I was hoping you enjoy it.
I'm with Jake.
Anyway,
yeah. Okay.
I think maybe we're doing too much here. Because one of those explanations
on at least 3 different talking head shows yesterday.
Yeah.
They don't want Ulbrich canceled, but they do want him fined or suspended.
I don't care about that. I don't care if don't put this. I don't have a problem not putting this on Ulbrich. I don't. Here's what I think happened. Ulbrich's what, in his 40s, 50s?
Jeff, yeah, he's yours. You should know.
Yeah, I can't remember how old he is.
He's all yours.
Yeah, I know. That's why I was mad when they replaced.
I mean, he is
48. Replaced Sala with my guy and 49ers. Anyway, so at least one of those explanations is insinuating or intimating, I'm not sure which, that there is some grand conspiracy at play that everybody knew that Shedeur wasn't going to get drafted until later than everybody thought. Okay? I don't think that's the case. I don't think there was some league-wide memo or collusion or anything like that people all got together and said, oh, we're not drafting Shedeur. That's what one of T-Mac's questions sort of intimates. I don't think that's the case. What I think the case is, a couple of things are pretty at play here that I think are equally possible. Number one, if you're...
Plausible or possible?
Either, both. I think...
Plausible is more, to me,
likely.
Is more likely.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I think both are very plausible in this scenario. That as a 48-year-old, maybe doesn't have the best technology chops.
You're making him sound like me.
I'm making him sound like everybody or most people in their late 40s, early 50s, that range of ages. Honestly, I'm not even very good with technology, to be honest. But I understand that.
No,
Terrence says, and this was intimated by the text as well, the 21-year-old son doesn't live at home.
Yes.
But that was talking about when he visited and why he visited, whatever. I get that. But that's these explanations I'm going into. Number one, I'm not going to assume that Jeff Ulbrich is real buttoned up on his iPad etiquette and locking it all the time, especially if he doesn't expect people to be around. I don't think that's far-fetched. I really don't. I know a lot of old people that are really bad with technology, or older people.
Just turn the Bluetooth off. You'll be fine.
It's
the frick does it have to do with
It's not a Bluetooth
Bluetooth
situation, Shane.
I'm just saying.
Good talk.
He's still mad that I asked him if he wears ankle weights.
Well, it's a fair question, I think.
It's not a fair question.
I do worry
that question's totally weighted.
I do worry. It's been windy.
It's been bad.
There's been deck furniture that has moved at my house. I do wonder how you function in bad weather.
You want me to come over and weight it down? Just come over and sit on them?
No.
I don't know. That would
but
help.
if you came over, I feel like I need to feed you.
No, I'm good.
Couple sandwiches.
I mean, I'd take a couple sandwiches.
He'd eat half a sandwich. He'd take the other home and feed himself for a week.
I don't even know if we have loaves of bread.
We don't. You're not a big bread guy.
I know we don't.
You should always have loaves of bread.
Well played.
Always a big fan of that.
I should air that you.
So I think it's possible that
they're like big loaves of bread.
I think it's possible that Jeff Ulbrich isn't very good with technology.
I can't believe you're going this route.
I'm
floored.
The other one is,
It's cool if you don't think it's a big deal, because I'm not saying it is either. But man, I think over here like a lunchbox head right about now.
I think it's crap. I think it's kind of crappy what the kid did, but I was 21 once and did a lot of stupid things that were crappy. So.
Okay, so I'm not. So hear my heart.
Yeah.
I'm not saying like cancel Christmas.
I mean,
but
yeah,
on a scale of 1 to 10, I'm 51.
Okay.
Rank my technical savvy, my technology, my skills, if you will, on a scale of 1 to 10 of normal 51-year-olds.
Of normal 51-year-olds, I actually think you're above average.
So a 6?
Yeah.
Okay.
4, 6.
Guess what my phone does?
What's that?
And my computer.
Auto lock?
Yes.
Sure. You're saying it. I also don't think it's out of the question that his son has his password for his iPad.
Gee whiz, man. Anything else to the good?
I mean, I have my
you're awful myopic for negative negative Nick.
I think it's more likely. These are all things I think are more likely than some vast conspiracy that the NFL colluded against Shedeur.
So why come you fast forwarded it to the collusion? You don't even have to use the C word. I mean, collective.
Because that's what T-Mac was intimating in the text.
No. Au contraire, mon frère.
That's
au contraire. I don't think he was intimating collusion. You don't even have to say the word collusion. Clearly, young Ravi, there was a collective thought.
Sure.
That was unspoken. So you don't have to don't give people ammo that don't want to believe that there was some greater.
So here's why
force.
I used the word collusion.
You don't even have to use the word collusion.
Here's why I used it is because in the text that you read from T-Mac, there was what he said was, did they know weeks ahead of time that he wasn't going to be drafted? That's more than just collective thought, in my opinion. So that intimates more than just collective thought. That's why I use collusion instead of just a general consensus of how the league was thinking.
Fair.
So I think it's more likely that either the kid has the iPad password, the dad leaves it open, or here's the other thing is 21-year-olds are just kind of crappy sometimes. Like, and maybe he just looks through his dad's iPad and is like, oh, there's some number. Like, do we know Shedeur's is the only number he took? Yeah. Maybe there's a bunch of numbers on there and he's like, oh, wouldn't it be cool if we prank called these people? Or, oh, wouldn't it be cool if I had Shedeur's number? Or wouldn't it be cool if I had Michael Penix's number or whoever? And then this thing starts happening and he goes, oh, shoot. You know what we could do? I stole Shedeur's number off my dad's iPad the other day. And then they call Shedeur Sanders. Like, that seems more likely to me than there was some overarching thing about Shedeur not getting drafted weeks ago.
So just a prank going bad, and then I'm going to post it with my buddies.
Well, they posted it because they thought it was funny, for sure. Like, they didn't know it went bad until it went bad, right? Like, they didn't know it was going to go – they didn't know they were going to get anybody in trouble until after it went bad, right? People post things on the internet, and then it goes badly for them all the time. I think they thought it was funny. We've seen these pranks posted on the internet before with zero repercussions.
You thinking reparations because you're talking to me? I
No.
felt offended. The word you're looking for is repercussions.
Repercussions. There we go. I always say repercussions.
Get the closet, dude.
I don't even know why.
Somebody get the closet, dude.
This is how we ended up on Jewels and Mules, by the way.
Wow.
But
so inappropriate.
Repercussions. There we go. But we've seen these pranks posted without repercussions for years. So all of a sudden, this guy, because he's connected to an NFL team, the kid, now there's a problem. And I get why it's different. I really do. But if you're that kid, maybe you're just thinking, oh, I've seen people do this before. Shedeur sliding a long way. Wouldn't this be funny? That seems incredibly more likely to me than weeks ago people knew that he wasn't going to get drafted. And then this kid was like, oh, you know, it'll be funny because I know this kid's not going to get drafted. I'm going to go steal his number and sit on it for weeks and then call him.
Are you surprised that so many of the media questions to specific teams are about guys, in particular Shedeur, and not guys that they actually drafted?
I do think that's
you must have had like 6 GMs say, I'm not talking about that.
Yeah.
I'm not talking about that. But I guess is it like a fiduciary responsibility thing that you pose the question?
Yeah, so we have this thing with media members that we get mad when they ask questions, then we also get mad when they don't ask questions. So if you're talking to the Giants, wouldn't really fall into this because they took a quarterback. But if you're talking to, let's say you're talking to any other team that you think needed a quarterback, or you thought drafting a quarterback was.
I thought you were about to say sharing is caring.
Yeah, sharing is caring. That's what they tell me.
You're over here not telling the truth.
That's what they told me in elementary school. Sharing is caring. I didn't listen much, but I heard it. But if you're talking to any team that has a GM that you thought maybe could have or should have or would have drafted a quarterback, or a team that did, like the Steelers, for instance, that didn't draft one until late, and Will Howard, you go, hey, you know, Shedeur was on the board a few times when you had picks that were outside the first round.
That round.
Which one? The Will Howard pick?
Yeah.
Like, that's a reasonable question, I think. Now, if you're asking, like, the Eagles, hey, why didn't you draft Shedeur Sanders? That's a dumb question.
Yeah, I guess, again, I couldn't care less about.
Context matters, you know?
Yeah, but you're just like, the iPad is just just open. It's like here. No, nobody's stuff is like that.
I have my phone so it does not lock unless I lock it.
Tim Johnson.
I swear, I'll leave it here. My phone will not lock until I lock it. Because I don't like it going dark on me all the time when I'm watching, or if I'm like doing something and I don't pay attention to it for a second.
But you're Mr. Fancy Pants Apple, so that means if you're either touching it, watching it, it has that sensor where it's not going to go dark anyway.
Sometimes I set it down like this, but I don't want it to go dark.
Is that thing from like 02, 03?
No, this is the newest model.
Of course it is.
But
Mr. Tech Savvy Fred.
I turn the auto lock off.
Yeah, so if you're laying on the bed and you're trying not to have this thing hit you in the face when you get sleepy,
that's
happened to everybody.
Yep,
like
absolutely.
Donk.
Yeah.
It's not shutting off because it knows that you're watching it.
No, I'm talking about when I'm like at a desk working on my computer and I want to have it open.
Yeah.
I like to have it open like this. So I don't have
I hear you.
So I just leave it.
No, I hear you.
It won't lock if I leave it here like this.
I hear you.
I turn the one on my computer up as long as I can.
Sometimes when I Zoom, I want to be able to use my phone.
Yeah. So I just leave it like this and whatever. But so it's maybe he does that. Maybe the kid just knows, hey, my dad uses his birthday.
I guess I'm just surprised that now all of a sudden you're big benefit of the doubt guy.
No.
And in the scenarios that you created, like, it's kind of weird.
I think it's just way more likely that a kid knows his dad's iPad password.
I understand. I'll ride with you on the anti-collusion thing.
I'm just writing probabilities here. That's all. I'm not really giving benefit of the doubt.
Yeah.
My probabilities are that a kid knows his dad's iPad password more than 7 or 8 teams decided F Shedeur, and this kid knows exactly when he's actually going to get drafted, so he knows when to make the prank call. You know what I mean? Like, that doesn't make a lot of sense to me. There's too many variables there. There's one variable in the situation I'm talking about. The kid knows dad's iPad password, or dad doesn't lock the iPad. Like, that's it. I will take the one variable over having to go through. If
I went to my mom's house right now,
yeah,
I'd have to ask for her password.
I know my parents' passwords.
I don't know any of mine.
Like, I don't think it's outside I know my parents' password. I know my wife's password. She knows my password.
Yeah,
like,
but
it's like, I don't think it's that unusual. I go help my mom out with stuff with her phone all the time or whatever, and so I know the password.
I was going to say you're tech savvy.
Why is that?
It's because you are.
I'm actually really not tech like knowing somebody's password.
Because you're younger.
Knowing somebody's password isn't really...
What are you giving this guy a lifeline for? He sucks. Okay, maybe you really don't. That might have been a little harsh.
It was rude. No.
I don't like the word collusion.
That's what
but if you're acting like there wasn't something collectively going on, I think that's a little myopic.
What do you mean by collective? Like that they just all decided they didn't like Shedeur? Or like what do you mean by collective?
Again, who's they
all? 7 or 8, whoever needs a quarterback.
I think once it started to happen, I think everybody was kind of cool with it.
So I think there's a couple different things that happen here, right? One is once it starts to happen, maybe they're all cool with it. The second thing is I think there's a group think in the NFL where if something starts to happen and you don't understand why, you go along with it because
nobody wants to be the one.
Nobody wants to look stupid.
Yeah,
But if that's what you mean by group think, sure.
This is the beautiful thing about ODB.
Yeah.
He's been wrong enough to know how to choose his words carefully.
Mm-hmm.
Thinking collectively could mean a multitude of things. So once it starts to go down, nobody wants to be the first.
Sure. Totally understand that.
Is that thinking collectively?
Sure.
Which is why I said it doesn't necessarily have to be the word collusion because you arm ding-dongs with ammo to refute what actually was going on.
Hold on. But in that scenario, hold on. If that's what we're talking about.
Sorry, Uncle Ravi. Can I go now?
No, slap your hand.
Jeez.
If that's what happened, if it started to happen and then everyone was cool with it, that eliminates the situation that T-Mac laid out, that it happened weeks before and the kid knew about it. That's why I use collusion instead of what we were talking about. Because I do think it's possible that as it starts to happen, we saw it in the stupid movie Draft Day, but I actually think it's one of the things they got right, where the quarterback starts to slide down and everybody's calling everybody, what's wrong with him? What's wrong with him? And nobody knows, but nobody wants to be the guy that pulls the trigger because they don't know and they don't want to look stupid, right? That, I think, is a real thing. That also prevents this scenario in which the kid knew 3 weeks beforehand that Shedeur was going to fall, so he took the number, right? So, yes, it could be groupthink and still eliminate that situation that we laid out.
Yeah, I just, again, it's a couple things.
Okay.
I think it's a little naive to think that an iPad that would be as sensitive as a coordinator's information would be like going to your mom's and saying, I know the password. I think the analogy kind of sucks.
You think it's more likely? Like, what do you think is more likely, that the kid knows the password or that there's some scheme at work that, like, what's the other option? If it's not the password and it's not collusion, but it still happened beforehand so that the kid would know to get the number.
Yeah, so I want to go back. What's the other option? I want to go back to the original question when I said, hey, I'm not saying I need a pound of flesh, but there has to be some sort of, and the word you're looking for is?
Explanation?
Repercussion.
Not repercussion.
If I'm Ulbrich and I am tasked with the responsibility of this job, is it understood that I need to be a little bit, did I have responsibilities?
Sure.
What would those responsibilities entail, Robbie?
Probably protecting your information.
Okay.
One of them. One of the responsibilities.
Right.
So here's so if we want to put it that way, if we want to say, hey,
I'm not, that's not a stretch.
No, it's
though,
not.
My guy.
No,
like that's.
So if you want to put it, so I was thinking about it in a different way. I was thinking about it as, hey, your kid did a mean thing to a draft pick. You should be punished. Not, hey, you weren't careful enough with secure information.
Yeah, you were negligent.
So that's fair. Yeah, that's fair. No, I'm
worst case, you were negligent.
I'm fine with that. And I think negligence is the most likely scenario.
Okay.
So that's fine. Yeah. I was thinking about it from the Shedeur standpoint, not from the team standpoint.
Yeah,
so that's fair.
Yeah, I don't. like all along, I'm kind of off making it about Shedeur. And
Totally
I'm
fine.
not trying to give him a pass because he definitely has some ink on his. He definitely has some ink at the scene, right? Some fingerprints left at the scene.
Yeah.
Daddy definitely has some fingerprints left at the scene. I think the league definitely has some prints left at the scene. Again, if we just say my man's not good enough, then he's just not good enough.
Mm-hmm.
But nobody believes he was 5th round bad.
Yeah.
So
what variables are we left with?
Yeah, that's a whole nother discussion. And I don't. I'm not a big. I'm definitely not a big. And I gave the examples of other black quarterbacks and guys like that could actually be smoking and clearing 5-foot bongs with gas masks and things like that.
It only falls to 13.
And the conversation always is, oh, but they're so talented. But they like Tunsil was clearly a much better pro prospect than Shedeur.
Yeah, he was a top 5 prospect.
Jamarcus Lawrence was clearly a better pro prospect, or guys that hit other people with vehicles.
Jameis Winston or
Jameis Winston, who stole and
the Pouncey twins
apparently couldn't keep his hands to himself, or the Pouncey twins,
or Hernandez, or anybody that played in Florida in the 2000s.
Right?
Yeah. Pick a guy.
Their talent superseded the deal. So
dramatically worse red flags, by the way.
So all of a sudden we're just cool with this being the.
So can I push back on that a little bit though?
You absolutely can, young Ravi.
You said this yesterday, and I thought about it a lot because there's been a lot of people talking about like, oh, this is a race thing versus oh, it's not a race
which
thing.
You know I don't believe.
Which I think that's fair. And you can point to this year's draft. A black quarterback got drafted 1st overall.
Yeah.
Right? I do think there are, and I don't know how much leeway I have here, but I do think.
With me?
Well, just in general.
You got plenty of leeway.
I know I do with you, but in general, because I overstep the line all the time.
Plenty of leeway.
So I do think the way society views black men is there's a couple different camps. And I think one of them is
do tell.
Well, I think there's more than a couple, but I think there's, especially the way we view black athletes, right?
Okay.
There are the sort of the humble, like just work hard, glad to be here, thankful, grateful for every opportunity. And then there's the Deons that are, hey, I'm good and I know it. I'm going to tell you about it. I think society in general has a harder time dealing with the Deons of the world. Now, some people love it. Some people love that about them. I think there's certain places in sports society, and I think a lot of times it is within leadership of teams.
You're talking about the docile, black, compliant.
Yeah, versus the more kind of out there.
Well, I think,
personality.
Clearly.
Yeah.
There's a difference, and we use them interchangeably, and it pisses me off because most people aren't ready to have these conversations, but they talk around it, and we use a lot of improper terminology.
Yeah.
There's a difference between African American or black or whatever you want to say versus the culture.
Correct.
But the funny thing is culture always gets attributed to the minority group and not the lifestyle. Like the culture that they're trying to avoid with Shedeur is not just a black thing.
Correct.
It's not.
But it gets
entitled
thing.
It gets attributed. It gets attributed to minorities because we don't like the package in which it comes in. Like, how dare we? But we're afraid to have those conversations. You got plenty of leeway because it's a real thing.
It is. I think there's.
You don't want the culture that comes with it. It's not because he's black. It's.
But here's where I have a hard time because I do think.
So what's the difference between Shedeur and Jason Williams? White chocolate.
Yeah, not a lot in the way they carry themselves.
Okay. when they want to be derogatory about Jason Williams, what attributes does he get attached with him? Does anything have to do with actually being white?
No.
It's you're acting what?
You're acting black.
Okay.
Yeah.
See,
or you're acting
that's the problem.
Ghetto, or you're acting
that's
whatever.
the problem.
Yeah.
We assign the attributes to the actual ethnicity as though it's a thing.
Yeah.
Well, that's all I see. Oh, like you're talking to somebody whose parents, and I love him dearly, whose dad told me, I'm at his house. We're out in Ponca. And my man, I'm in high school, Robbie. And my man's like, hey, there's a difference between blacks and niggers, right? So he said it. He said it.
Yeah.
Do you think I was upset?
I would imagine.
Clinton is sitting right there with me.
Yeah.
And do you know what I thought in my head?
What's that?
At least I know. At least I know what I'm dealing with. It's not his fault. There's a difference between being ignorant and being dumb, or purposely being stupid.
Sure.
He's just ignorant. But I understood what he was saying. So what do I always say to people that I shook you, didn't I?
Well, yeah, I'm also just thinking about there was and not to
go ahead.
Obviously, I didn't know your dad, but knowing some of his history and kind of what he went through, there was almost certainly no way for him to succeed in his mind besides being the acceptable version to society.
But at the end of the day, the thing that I admired most about him is he was still authentic. So there was still going to be this thing where you can assimilate without having to conform.
Sure.
But anyway, I say that to say, so when we're talking about this conversation with Shedeur, or with how Deion carries himself, or the difference between Jack and John Elway, we'll make it
Archie and Eli, or
we'll make it about all these other things where hey, those were first round picks, or because at the time when Deion said what he said, nobody disagreed.
No.
With where his son was.
Nobody disagreed until
nobody disagreed
2-3 weeks ago.
They didn't. Nobody gave him pushback and said, "That guy's not going in the first round, man. It's a dad that wants to control his draft picks." We just didn't. We just didn't like the culture that came with it. And until they start to have those conversations out loud, nobody's ever going to keep it a buck.
Yeah.
So we'll dance around it. It's part of the reason we don't like what happens with the NBA, or we see it sometimes in baseball with what happened to this athlete and why don't they play anymore, and we'll make it about money, and it's really not. It's what's going to be accepted culturally within the sport that people will allow.
Baseball is a really good example of this, because there's a lot of like Latino players that play a lot differently culturally than some players from the U.S., right? So there is a certain segment of the sport that really hates how loud and flashy some of the Latino players are. Like, it's a very similar dynamic in baseball.
Yeah.
It's probably the closest dynamic we're talking about.
Ken asked a question. If Cam Scadabo was black, does he get drafted higher? Yes. He probably does.
100%. Yeah. I think Cam Scadabo is a really good running
back.
back.
Ken, I love the question. It's Stones. But I will say this. I'll also throw in, but if he was black and he's running 4.7s, we would say he was slow.
True.
Cam gets the benefit of the doubt that he didn't run as fast.
Look at Caleb Johnson. Ran a 4.57.
Yeah, and he's slow.
He's slow.
But why is he slow?
Because he's black.
Yeah. So, I mean,
even though he's a 6'1", 230-pound running back.
Yeah, like you got to, you know what I mean? Like it
can go both. It cuts both ways.
I'm cool. So I don't know, Michaela. Is what racist? Which part? I'm willing to have. Wait, are we talking about the draft picks that have been pranked? Kinda, but no.
We were, but
she does ask, is that racist? I'm not sure which.
Which part she's asking about?
Yeah, but the answer is probably yes. No, I'm kidding. It's probably no. I mean, these are just conversations that people.
I also think there's a difference between something being racist and race being a factor.
Okay, I'm listening.
So and maybe this is just the way I view it, because sometimes pound of flesh is a really good example. In my mind, pound of flesh meant one thing. We looked it up. Your definition of pound of flesh was right, and the way I thought about it was wrong, right? So I'm acknowledging that could be the case here. When I think about the term racist, I think about people that are intentionally doing something on the basis of race. When I think of race being a factor, I think more of subconscious sort of factors.
Yeah, probably closer to prejudice than race.
Sure.
And it doesn't have to be
doesn't have to just be
a race thing,
yes.
right? It could be gender, it could be
yes,
age.
Right,
I think prejudice.
Yes.
Because I think the difference between racism and prejudice is racism is like the conscious effort to hold back because of something.
Yes.
Prejudice is really just a preconceived
like ingrained
notion.
biases.
It's just like a preconceived notion.
Yeah, that's a good
Feel me?
a good way to put it. Yeah, that's what I mean when I say that. And so is it racist? I don't know. Is it prejudice? Probably. Right? Like this whole conversation we're talking about.
Yeah, it's like Cam. If Cam looks different, we probably think about him different.
Yeah.
If Cam
Shedeur,
Cam looks different, Scatterbo could easily be a better version than Craig Hayward. Yeah. But it was cool when it was Bettis and Hayward.
Yeah.
It's probably not as in vogue if it's Cam Scatterbo.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's
fair.
I think you have to be able to say that out loud.
Yeah, and so I do think there's a lot of prejudice in the way we want a quarterback to act.
We just don't use the right language when we want to have meaningful dialogue. So it just comes across as people yelling. Like there's not really any resolution until you're willing to say, hey, you know what? Like Shedeur just wasn't good enough to take what he comes with. That people don't want to say that.
Yeah. But my question is, if he
was better, we would.
Well,
you don't think so?
No, I think if he's white, we would.
Man.
In this case, I think that's true. In this case, I think that's true.
I wish I had a comp though.
So I don't have a perfect one, right? Because
maybe Ryan Leaf. But Leaf was physically more gifted.
So that's why I used, and people pushed back hard on it. That's why I used Johnny Manziel, because I didn't ever look at Manziel as this stereotypical, really.
What about, here, I'll give you one.
Yeah.
What about Baker Mayfield?
Baker's a good one. Baker's a good one. He's a little more athletic than Shedeur, but I think not a ton. And I think Shedeur is maybe a better decision maker.
Here's the funny thing.
Yeah.
I love Baker Mayfield.
Mm-hmm.
I can't stand Shedeur. And I know Shedeur is a good player.
Yeah.
Do you want me to be honest and tell you why?
Why?
Don't matter to me.
I'm going to tell you why.
Okay.
Because I think Shedeur contributes to the stereotype. So he makes me mad.
Sure. You're very consistent on that.
I think I'm
the stereotype about black men. Right?
I'm just being honest. Because I think he contributes to the stereotype, it upsets me.
What if that's really who he is? Like, what if that's authentic? Does that make it better?
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
But you still aren't going to like it.
I could roll with it.
Okay.
But do you know where I'm conflicted?
You can't tell if it's real or not?
I just listened to his interview.
He said, hey, we'll see the real me.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I go back to the kid that I saw on the reality show that Deion had to have like these private conversations with.
Yeah.
Like, hey, man, stop being a knucklehead. So that's just me being honest.
Yeah.
Like, so I'm kind of guilty of it. It's cool in Baker because he's little and undersized and he's super competitive.
So you know why I like Baker? I don't love the way he plays, but that's a dude that continually bet on himself.
I can ride with that. And they are different in that regard because one wasn't the son of an icon.
Yes. The other was a walk-on twice removed.
Yeah. I hear you.
Right.
I hear you.
So
But I'm talking about the
actual physical attributes.
I wish I could let myself off the hook with what you just said, but I can't because you don't unring that bell.
Yeah. So that's
but they do come from vastly different situations.
So that's part of the reason I like to use Manziel, because Manziel's family's got some money.
Yeah.
Right. He comes from a more privileged situation, much like Shedeur does. And we sit here and we go, okay, that a lot of times we think that matters when it comes to football players and especially quarterbacks. And maybe it does. How hungry is the guy? How much does he need this? Versus, he's got family money and he doesn't really worry about it.
See, I hate that.
I don't like it either.
So that made me mad. That made me mad last week. Didn't you ask me the question? Was that you? Somebody asked me the question, does he really need the money?
Oh, I didn't say that.
And I'm like,
I don't think. I read an article about it.
I'm like, yeah, he really needs the money. It's his own. No, I said this on the show. Somebody said this. And I was like, you guys are nuts.
I don't think it was me. Maybe it was. I don't think it was.
I don't know, to be honest.
Yeah. I don't remember saying that, but to be fair, I don't remember a lot
But
of
it's like, even Bud talking to Shannon said, Shannon was trying to goad Bud into saying something negative about Tank Davis. And, Shannon was like, well, Javonte says you need the money. And Bud paused and he said, look, I'm a boxer. He's a boxer. You're a boxer. We all need the money, right? Like, he didn't get into the weeds of, hey, I got a Denali pickup truck. I got it used. I fixed it up. I'm not going to waste my money on this. He didn't even get in. He didn't entertain the notion of, I'm really good with my money. I'm so good with my money, I'm still picky over my house being finished over here off the North Interstate. Right? So, like, everybody who is so, unless you're Buffett or Gates or
bad with money,
or like, who doesn't need the money?
Yeah. Yeah. No, I get it.
Right. If I said to Noddle, I just talked to him. I was like, hey, if I said to Jay Noddle, who's everywhere? I mean, if I said, oh man, you don't need the money, he would. This dude may lose his mind on me.
Yeah.
Who doesn't need the money?
Yeah.
So I don't know why we say that.
Yeah. No, I get it.
I don't know, but for whatever the reason, like I ride with Baker.
Yeah.
But I don't really like Shedeur because I don't really know who he is.
Fair.
So that like at the end of the day.
Yeah, I can ride with I can.
And I said this 3 weeks ago and it flew under the radar. Any other year, if Shedeur Sanders wasn't in this draft, Cam Ward would be under way more scrutiny. Because if you listen to Cam Ward, we're not going to like what he says either.
He's a little quieter about it. A little quieter. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, that's part of it. And you've got the Shedeur thing taking all the shiny lights away from him. Like, there's a
but it's not
version
just
of this
with
where Cam Ward gets
with
picked
me.
apart
It's not just with me. It's not just a black thing with Shedeur, because I like Kyler Murray. Kyler Murray's a lot the same way. Gives zero cares, very defiant, confident in his abilities. I ride with Kyler. Right? So there are some other factors in that drive me crazy with Shedeur. But I think you have to be able to have these conversations if you want to nip it in the bud and talk about it, because we talk around it. Oh, these owners, man, they're 60, 70, 80 years. Listen, they don't embrace the culture. And that's okay. It's their league. It thrives. It has made more minorities millionaires than any industry I can think of.
Sports in general. And because NBA is up there too.
Yeah, but there's more NFL guys.
Fair.
You know what I mean?
Bigger roster. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, so
yeah,
that's my only. Yeah, because I get your point. I don't want to detract from it, but I'm like, we got to stop using culture, and we got to be better at owning it too, as a group of people, because we adopt it and we act like it's for everybody, and we're still one of the few groups in the world that enjoy associating with the lowest common denominator. Like, I'm not a fan of that.
Yeah.
And I got to be able to say that, looking the way that, like, I'm not a fan of that. But it's just, sometimes you just got to be better.
Yeah.
So but you have to be able, Travis, Kyler Murray is a more grounded Manziel. He's a better player, though.
Kyler Murray's a way better player than Manziel was. Like a way better prospect. I get he's shorter, but literally.
You guys better stop marginalizing my man Kyler Murray.
Kyler Murray's one of the best athletes in the NFL.
You hate on him too. Don't try to.
No, he is. Like, listen, I don't love him as a quarterback, but he's one of the best athletes in the NFL. And
he's a good player.
And his skill set. I mean, do we not remember that this guy was a first-round Major League Baseball draft pick? And until like halfway through his last year at Oklahoma, people thought he was going to play baseball.
Mm-hmm.
And it wasn't until that narrative started to get squished a little bit that he was going to go 1 overall in football, because people are like, oh, his future clearly in baseball. Like, that dude's a phenomenal athlete, has a phenomenal quarterback skill set. The only knock on him was his height, right? If that dude was 6'1", no questions about Kyler Murray whatsoever. That's why I bring up Johnny Manziel. I think talent-wise, Johnny Manziel and Shedeur are in the same neighborhood. Yeah. I believe that. Now, people are going to push back on me because, he won a Heisman and whatever. But I genuinely believe, outside of mobility that we all knew wasn't going to translate to the NFL, that Johnny Manziel and Shedeur are very similar talent types.
Yeah. I mean, so to land the plane about the culture thing, which I think we have to do a better job at as a ethnic group. I wasn't mad at my buddy's dad.
Why's that?
Because I think he was right. It's just the fact that we've owned that term.
Mm-hmm.
It means low down. It was meant to ridicule, to make fun of.
Yeah,
it means low down. Low down, no good.
Yeah.
We don't have to own that.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm like, yeah, you're cool, because you know what? It could be somebody white. It could be somebody. It just gets attributed to us, and we own it. Like, so I'm not mad about that. Now, I was shook.
Sure.
I was shook, but I wasn't mad at him. I'm like, okay.
Like, so, the reason it shook me when you said it? Because I've heard white people say that as an excuse to be racist.
I mean, a lot of times it is.
You know what I mean? So like when you said it, I'm like, okay, I'm not sure I've ever heard a story of a black man saying it that way.
I'm not like.
You know what I mean?
Listen, ask anybody. Like, you can't even say the word around.
Oh, so yeah, it's not a word you use. I know.
Like, you can't look. My players, you just can't. Mm-hmm. And everybody knows it. Of any school I've been at, ask around. You ever want to see DB Coach Benning lose his mind? Say that, and I will snap, because we've empowered it to be used in such a way where now we can't even defend it. It gets this. Well, if this, then it's this. If it's it, listen, man, it's too confusing. Don't just scrap it.
Just don't say it. Yeah,
I'm just saying.
That's That's 20 minutes on Race in the Morning. Don't worry about it. It'll be fine.
It's the one that the NFL needs to have.
It is. And I think it's a conversation that is worth having, because at this point at 8:49 on a Tuesday morning.
Yeah, but you can't sit here and tell me with a straight face that Ulbrich just was like, don't do that.
I think I can sit here with a straight face and say it's more likely that his kid knows his password than it is that.
That's fine.
There was some.
But if that's the case, then he's extremely negligent.
That's totally fine. I'm not.
He is
I'm not
extremely negligent.
I think it's entirely possible he's extremely negligent.
Okay, I'll own it.
I'll
take that.
I don't think that's an unlikely scenario by any means.
See how many of my friends will ride with me after the segment.
I think it's a more unlikely scenario that he knew 3 weeks before.
I think what you described the first 5 minutes of that deal was a lot. There's a lot of tomfoolery.
What?
Well, I can't even walk back.
Gonna do the Ravi voice.
It changes, so I'm not good at it.
Like, keep her on your toes.
Yeah.
Just not on those knees right now because you're struggling with the mobility.
Shane, do I scare you because you just never know what I'm gonna say?
Sometimes you got to bend those knees.
Like Dana Altman, bend your knees, boys.
I can't bend doo-doo right now.
I know.
I actually can.
Yeah, you're moving all right.
I know, man.
You're hopping up on that stage without any problems.
How about that?
Look at that.
How you like them apples?
Like standing up like an octogenarian. You know, octogenarian?
An
I
octogenarian?
mean, somebody in their 80s.
Oh.
You're standing up like,
An octogenarian.
At least you're
I
not.
get it. The oct.
At least you're not like. At least you're not like Sauter, where you're trying to help yourself up and bust your thumb in half.
No, I still want to know how he did that, but that's neither here nor there.
He'll tell you the story, and it's not any better than I described it.
I don't know.
Wow.
Thank you, dear baby Jesus.
Dear baby Jesus.
I'm sure it's really painful. I'm not diminishing the degree of the injury. It is kind of funny how it happened.
I binged those up real quick.
Thank you, dear baby leg.
With arms wide open.
With dead legs.
Get some legs.
Dead. Anyway.
Let's take a quick break here, Shano. We'll be back here in just a little bit. More Hurrdat Sports Live.
Give me that cheddar, we getting Rico. Big bunny rolls like burritos. Give me that hot sauce, no pico. Give me that.
Yeah, I mean, the transition, we said this earlier in the meeting, was it today or yesterday, that this has been one of the easiest transitions in my entire career, from being a freshman to then now a returner, and now I'm a senior. And you thought that maybe a head coach could rock some things, and she's just been incredibly transparent, and that's helped me a lot with buying into what she has to offer here. So that's made the transition really smooth. But I honestly feel like, to answer your question, that is just the standard of Nebraska volleyball. I think Coach built an empire. He made a program so attractive that it will bring some of the greatest athletes in the nation, regardless of who's in charge. And now, a matter of who's in charge, that kind of is the cherry on top. But, I mean, truly, yes, Danny has added a lot, but regardless, we're going to try and go out there and demolish.
The biggest differences you've noticed now at Nebraska?
I would say the biggest difference is, I would say here, Nebraska, we have this thing like O-line pride. So if one person messes up, everybody messes up. So if you're not playing to where the whole unit is playing, or where we feel like we should be playing, they're gonna bring you along whether you like it or not. So I feel like when I first got here, I wasn't aware of the tradition and everything, but I feel like they've brought me along, showed me hey, this is how we do things. O-line, we're always together, whether we're out together, we walk into the meeting rooms together, we walk into the weight room together, we do everything as a unit. So I feel like that has impacted me the most since I've been here at Nebraska. So
what was motivating you most during that tractor pull?
Oh, I couldn't even breathe. If you can see, if they have the zoom in, one of the harnesses broke, and it was choking me the whole time. I was like, hey, I guess I'm just down the field. I gotta beat the other man. So I was not losing no matter what the circumstances was. So I just had to see it through. So.
aspirations can drive us. Sometimes a simple gesture is what fuels the pursuit of a dream. When it's time to make your dream a reality, we are here to help. Centris Federal Credit Union. We are where you are.
Welcome to Hurrdat Sports Live.
We're back on Hurrdat Sports Live, presented by Centris Federal Credit Union. That's DB. I'm Ravi. Lulla, reminding you, if you need a new ride, start with Centris Federal Credit Union. Consistently voted best in Omaha for auto financing, their team of experts is ready to help you get in the driver's seat, whether it's a car, maybe some motorcycle, recreational vehicle, whatever it is you're looking for, they can help you out. CentrisFCU.org. Your open roads await. Contact Centris to get started today. Federally insured by NCUA. DB.
I don't even know what that is.
And yes, Schaefer's here.
Mike J is here.
The Mike J. Schaefer from Husker247 joining us now. Mike, we appreciate you being here a couple minutes early for us because we don't really have a clock anymore, so sometimes we're not great, but we appreciate your flexibility. What's up, Schaefer?
Just have to have Shane send me a message, and I just sit around trying to avoid work, and this is a good way to do that. So
glad you're just sitting around waiting for our bat signal to be like, all right, we're ready to go.
Kind of. Like you guys have both been radio guests before. You understand, like, about 5 minutes before your appearance, and you usually give yourself like 10 minutes after the expected end of an appearance, just to you block that out on a schedule, just to make sure that you're available. And so it worked out fine. No issues on my end.
Schaefer, are you a hockey guy at all?
In the sense that if I'm in a city that has a professional hockey team and there's an opportunity to go to a game, it is an unbelievable live experience. I love going to, Mavs games. I mean, I'll venture out to a Lincoln Stars game every now and then. Like, hockey in person, phenomenal. International hockey during the Olympics, phenomenal. The whatever it was that I watched in February, phenomenal. What do they call that? The four nations?
Yeah, that was super cool.
That was great. I cannot get myself to care about a particular team, so I don't find myself watching the NHL. Like, even when it comes to Stanley Cup, I will probably throw like the finals on just to have on a television. But I don't know that much about the sport. I can't tell you who the best players are. I do know that as a viewing experience, at least in person, it is maybe the best live sport there is. I have loved every time I've been to an NHL game. It helps that they've all been like 4-3 with dramatic goals by the home team to win in the third period each time. They've been to 3 of them. And Nashville and Denver twice.
That shtick was hilarious for at least a couple.
Yeah, lifelong Preds fan. I was doing that for like whenever they took on the Penguins. Yeah. I remember I would come on Fridays during that.
That's what got my attention.
Yeah, lifelong Preds fan. So Pekka Arena, the best goalie of all time since Martin Brodeur.
Wow. Pekka Rinne?
I don't know how it's pronounced. I assume that's how it's pronounced.
That's him. That's a good. See, Shane, that's a good pull. That's a.
Really... Look, I grew up. I loved the Devils when I was a kid. I was in on hockey.
Martin Brodeur.
The first lockout. This sounds insane, but the first lockout happened, and I was like, "Well, it's no longer on my TV, so I don't care anymore." I was like 13, and I just moved on to other things. And I never really came back from that. But yeah, give me Scott Stevens, Scott Niedermayer, Scott Gomez, all the Scotts. The New Jersey Devils, very good.
Nice. Okay, I can vibe. So, Shape, we were talking earlier, and I know Ravi's. I'm not going to ask your question so much as I'm going to ask around it with Shape.
Okay.
Mike J, how hard?
No, I've never caught a punt. Next question.
You guys. Okay. Safe. Stop. It doesn't help me.
It was pretty funny though.
Yeah, I know.
That was a good one.
Mike J. Knock it off.
I'm sorry.
Shane, do your job.
Just chuckling over there. Chucklehead. Shay, how hard is it right now with whatever all the variables are, where you can't just call kids anymore? There's like the middle people and the other middle people and the other middle. Like, how hard is it to recover recruiting right now? Like, shouldn't we be talking about that Ohio State's in town to see Braylon Warren or something? It's like, but you never know because you have to wait for the information to like come out from
all interested parties.
Yeah, it's just like, how hard is it, Shafe?
It's different. I mean, it's different certainly than when I first started. It's different than even just like 5 years ago. I think about somebody like John Talman, who was the best the Nebraska market's ever had in terms of covering recruiting. And I mean, he did it in an era where recruits didn't have cell phones and he couldn't fall back on sending a DM if a kid didn't answer a message. And, you know, he would have to get house landline numbers and all of that. Like, it's just, so the recruiting industry has always undergone shifts and changes in terms of access to information and the best way to get the information, the best way to present the information. And now, you know, there's another shift in sort of how stuff gets disseminated, what stuff, you know, gets put out there, what people react to. And so, yeah, I mean, it's just it's a challenge. And then you throw in the transfer portal, which is unlike high school recruiting, where you have representatives that have their opinions on what's happening. And sometimes it's not even the same as if you do actually get a hold of a kid in the transfer portal. He may have an entirely different comment than what his representation may say. So it's a unique time to be covering recruiting, to say the very least.
Shafe, I'm curious, between high school and the transfer portal guys, when you're trying to get information from them, how much more involved are the agents with the transfer portal guys versus high school guys?
Almost. It's like a 99-1 split. I can think of one Nebraska target who's not even a target anymore, where it felt like there was some agency involvement, and that would have been Jackson Cantwell. And I'm not entirely sure what happened there. I don't know if you guys remember, but Jackson Cantwell was Nebraska's top guy on the board. Oh. And it sure seemed like everything was going well. And then all of a sudden January hits. They never visit Nixa, Missouri. He's no longer on the board. He releases a top 8. Nebraska's not in it. And each side moves on. He's represented by Drew Rosenhaus. So, I mean, it's very few high school athletes that I have come across I've ever had to deal with any kind of representation. I mean, sometimes their parents or a family member or a rogue coach is their representation, but they're at least presented in such a way that it's not true. You know, it's just a big difference with those things. So high school recruiting, still easier to get information, easier to kind of have a feel for where things are going, because there's more people that are talkative, I guess, if you will. It's significantly less secretive than the transfer portal.
Shafe, so let me ask you something, because I was telling Ravi this. I probably talked to you more than, well, for certainly anyone here locally that's in your industry about Marty and kind of this deal. I listened to you yesterday with talking about Cal and Miami and the differences and kind of your thoughts, and I thought it was kind of interesting. And I guess my question is kind of how do we discern, or where did we, like, what's kind of the backstory to this sentiment or the feel? Because it's real, and for some, that Nebraska was either late or not as interested, or it only picked up recently. Like, what's the difference between Nebraska doing their due diligence and guys having good information in your industry that Nebraska was kind of approaching this different than other schools?
Yeah, I mean, for me, some of it is comes from Brown himself. I mean, he he talked with Michael Brunson, responded to messages with Michael Brunson, basically said, I'm not hearing from Nebraska. I mean, so when he said that on Tuesday of last week, and that's 2 days before he's set to visit Nebraska, and I mean, it might have been Monday night, so I don't have the exact. So we'll say either Monday night or early Tuesday. And Tuesday he was in Miami, so I'm guessing it was Monday night. And you know that he's going to be in Miami the next day. And we've got a really good Miami site. I mean, they're plugged in. They know what's going on. And I'm talking with our Miami guy, and he's like, hey, Miami wants to close this down today. And, you know, Brown's telling us that he's not hearing from Nebraska. I'm hearing that Miami wants to finish this thing off when they've got him on campus because they don't want him to go to Lincoln. They sure as hell don't want him to go to Cal or to Manhattan or wherever. They want him to be enamored by Miami. And so, you know, all of that kind of happens early last week. I think there's some uncertainty about if Nebraska was a visit or if it was a, hey, you know, we've got a practice. Why don't you just come down and watch the practice? And so I think some of it was a clear indication as to how Nebraska was established in this recruitment. We knew how Miami felt because they made him a priority. They told him he was a priority. He felt like he was a priority. We had an indication that Cal was the same because of how they were treating it. And Cal was in a situation where they had a decimated running back room. Part of the positioning or part of the viewpoint of Nebraska is that they did appear to be hanging back. He hadn't talked with BJ Barthel as of Monday of last week. Or at least that's the intimation that he had given us. And so it's hard for me to view Nebraska, and maybe they're doing their due diligence in the background. I don't know. It's not like they're calling me up and telling me how this is going. They don't have to. But the point is, like, if you really want a guy, your running backs coach isn't going until Tuesday, 2 days before he's coming in for a practice or a visit or whatever it was. Like, he felt love from Miami. He felt love from Cal. The way he responded to Michael Brunson last week was a guy who wasn't feeling love from Nebraska. I think that's where that comes from. And our reporting reflected that. And so, but then, you know, the visit happens on Thursday and everything shifts. And it sure feels like wherever Nebraska was, if this is a horse race, if Nebraska's far in the back, they sure as hell got neck and neck with Miami based on what happened on Thursday. Now, where Cal was in all of this and how Cal has emerged as the favorite at this point, that's all part of recruiting. And it's just to say that, you know, how things are presented one day versus where we get to the next. That's why we always say recruiting is fluid. And especially when we're talking about small time frames and the transfer portal, where just a couple conversations or one day at university has to be enough for a guy to decide what he wants to do for the next season of his career. And so these things can flip on a dime. And, you know, I think it's important for fans as we go forward. Like, the high school recruiting process is drawn out. It takes months and months, and in some cases, years. I mean, Nebraska recruited Jackson Cantwell for years, and then it was over. And they're not even involved anymore. And then we talk about transfer portal recruiting, and just go back to January and how many offensive linemen, or December, how many offensive linemen Nebraska was involved in. It's like, oh, it's looking good for this guy from New Mexico State. It's looking good from this guy from Washington State. They didn't get either of them because that's what transfer, like, it is fast-paced, speed dating recruiting, and things flip quickly. So however it looks on one particular day of the week until a kid is signed and locked in somewhere, lots of things can change. So the presentation of how Nebraska looked early last week flipped hard when we got to Thursday, and everything I heard from the people that I've talked with, you know, it was a really, really good visit. Was it enough? We'll find out. And it certainly feels like this is a guy that has some pretty good options ahead of him and a tough decision to make.
Yeah, it was interesting. I called him, and I mean, I can share this with you because I talk to you enough anyway, and I trust you. But, you know, when I called him yesterday, and it was about something in particular, he initially said Coach Benning, which he almost never does. I mean, sometimes he does, but most times he doesn't. And I said, hey, you know, did I catch you at a bad time? And he said, "Hey, yeah, I'll call you back. I'm the Cal. I'm with the coaches from Cal." And I said, "Oh, they're there right now." And he said, "Yeah." And I said, "Oh man, you know what? I appreciate you picking up, man. I'll let you go. I'll hit you back later." And I hung up the phone, Schaefer, and I was in shock that Cal was back again. Right? They had done the first in-home. They were way ahead of the game. You know, coach.
Well, that in-home happened, and I didn't know about it until I think you mentioned it to me.
Yeah.
I don't think that had been reported until then.
And you listen, and
like a lot happens in the cover of darkness in terms of portal recruiting that people just don't know.
And I didn't meet like that conversation took. I just joking with Ravi. I said, you know, I ended up talking to Shay. I said the parking. It's like 50-some minutes. You know, we're just
we were on the phone a long time.
And the thing about it was, I'm like, how are they back again already? But then I went back to something Coach Rule said before this thing even came to light. He said the desperate teams will set the market. Is that what you kind of see happening here in some of these situations where, because normally it wouldn't be like this if they didn't not have 5 running backs in the portal or have a little bit more extra money to spend. Like it's almost that I'm just like, dang, I hope that's not the case because it's easy to get a lot of bad advice if that's the case.
Yeah, I mean it's entirely possible, and I would remove the word desperate because I think there's too much noise with that word
or negative. Okay.
And I understand what Matt Rule means, but I would change it to like motivated, because go look at how Nebraska went after offensive linemen in December and January. Look at how Nebraska went after wide receivers in December and January. Look at how Nebraska has conducted themselves when they've gotten into the portal period, and they know, like, we've got to go get this. That's motivated. That's a team that's allocated its resources and its time and is set in a direction of which we need someone at this position, and we're working through our board, and we're not getting Isaiah World, and we're not getting Shaez Pete, and we're now down to Elijah Pritchett, and we like Elijah Pritchett. But yeah, that was a motivated. I mean, I wouldn't call Nebraska desperate, but motivated with how they went after Elijah Pritchett and the resources it took to get Elijah Pritchett and Rocco Spindler. And that's what Cal is right now for running backs, because, I mean, you need running backs. And if you can get a quality guy who had a nice year at North Dakota State, who has upside and has years ahead of him, I mean, it makes a ton of sense to me that Brown would be a target for a team that doesn't know what its running back picture looks like, but knows it needs somebody, has a coach in Wilcox that's a tremendous evaluator. Look at how much talent is leaving Cal, and people want it.
Yeah, he's
like
a good coach.
They want it.
I loved him from day one.
He's a good coach in a bad situation. I would like to see him at a different program and how that would all look.
Just wait a year. You'll get your way.
We've been waiting a little while. I mean, it feels like he keeps skinning the cat a little bit on that one.
Well, now he's got the Rivera influence, so we'll see.
So, but yeah, I totally understand what Matt Rule means. I just would change the word desperate to motivated, which, call it spin if you want. But I think desperate, there's a little bit too much negativity around that, because I think some of it is like, hey, we need this. We have to invest our time and our resources and our money, and we have to take care of it. And that's where I think Cal is at the running back spot.
Schaefer, I'm curious. You mentioned how good the site, the 24/7 site, is for Miami. Has there been anything in the reporting that either they've shared with you or that you've heard that you feel is inaccurate from the general narrative? Because I guess what's out there about Miami is like, oh, they're offering the biggest bag, and like that's it, and that's the Miami pitch. I'm curious if there's more to it than that you're aware of.
In our conversations, I mean, NIL, I think Miami feels good about what it can offer, but I also think it wasn't. I mean, it wasn't going to be like an out of this world offer. I don't know. I mean, I don't spend a lot of time asking and talking about NIL because I can't verify the numbers. So anyone could give me a number And I'm not
wish
going to run
other
out.
people. I wish other people had your discipline, because some people would just say anything.
Well, I mean, that's sort of where we're at. You can't verify it. You can't, like, I'm not going to get Miami's NIL operation on the phone and they're like, you know what, Mr. Schaefer, this is the exact figure. Would you like to see our spreadsheets? Why don't you fly down and look at our books? No, I'm not going to get that. And so I have to trust the people that I'm talking to. And, when we had our first conversation, he goes, NIL is not going to be, they want him because they think he's good. They're not just going to throw money at him. And then we know that Nebraska isn't interested in being in an NIL showdown here. And so there's a real chance that the Cal is holding the largest bag. Now, does that matter? I don't know Brown enough to know what his value system is. And for some guys, it's getting the single most amount of money. For some guys, it's finding the place that they're most comfortable in. For some, it's a combination of the two. And I think Nebraska's avenue, if they were to end up with him, it's the proximity angle. It's the opportunity to play for a school that he knew of growing up. And I think he genuinely liked the people that he spent time around on Thursday. I think that's Nebraska's avenue to winning this. And yeah, there's going to be a possibility of some NIL there. And if you were Nebraska, you sure as heck should be selling, hey, a local guy does well here. There's the NIL that we can offer and a rev share, but then there's the stuff that you can go make on your own. If you drive around Lincoln and Omaha, you might notice some local kids on the First National Bank billboards or all of these other things. So, I mean, Nebraska's not stupid. They know how to sell these things to local athletes.
You need a Carson Wealth Management guy. We got yeah, I hear you.
They know how to sell this to people that are from the area, and it's the right way to go about it, because you don't have to just throw money at them, but you can show them how they can make money on their own. It works the same way.
So, Schaefer, I'm glad you brought that up, because I'm curious, and maybe maybe you don't, but I'm curious how much you think.
I'm sure I don't.
Nothing like an expert witness.
A hostile witness.
Jurors, you will strike what you just heard.
Schaefer, I'm curious how much Nebraska uses sort of future benefit, I guess is the way I'll put it, to being like, we all know that there is especially if you're from Nebraska, but even if you're not, if you're from Nebraska, you do well at Nebraska and stay in Nebraska, your life can be pretty good. Right? Like, even well after college, even if you don't make it to the NFL or do those sorts of things. Do you know how much that gets talked about when talking to these recruits? Because if it were me, and I'm 37, not 18, so I think about things differently, at least I hope now. If somebody was telling me, hey, even if this doesn't go exactly how you want it to, if you're good here, people will take good care of you basically for the rest of your life.
I don't remember which coach it was. I wish I could remember who to attribute this to, but we were just having like a conversation after a practice one day, and we were talking about this, and he said, one of the things that's great about recruiting to a place like Nebraska is that I can show them, the former players that choose to stick around in the area, how if their football career didn't quite go how they wanted, they've still got a community that accepts and appreciates them for who they were and what they were able to give to this university. And he's like, you'd be surprised how important that is to some families, or what that means to people, that there would be a place that they could call home, that they could feel comfortable, that they have somewhere that they can always rely on. He was talking about Lincoln and Omaha in that sense. I really wish I could remember which coach that was. I think that has to be some of the conversation. What was that?
I said Mike Anderson, Terry Keneally, Lawrence Eat, Sean Buchanan.
Yeah, I mean, it's a real thing. I mean, I was just thinking the other day, like, you can walk around Lincoln or just be in various places in Lincoln, and there's Tommy Armstrong. There's some guys from, previous eras, and that's normal around. Like, you don't have to be a star, but sometimes showing someone a place where you can have some success, you can play football, you can set yourself up for the future, and you can always have somewhere to call home. It's a valuable thing. And so not everybody's going to appreciate that pitch, but I thought that was a really interesting conversation. And all of that to say, like, I just think if you're Nebraska, you have to lean into what makes yourself different. You have to lean into the fact that, you know, it's a unique community here. But then you have days like Saturday. And again, while I'm not the biggest proponent of the Husker games, as we saw it in its iteration on Saturday, I mean, you still got to see that alums showed up for it, that there was people excited about it, that there's just an energy about football around here that you're not going to find elsewhere in the country. Like, that's going to matter to some level of recruits. I don't know if I'm exactly answering your question, but I just think there's a unique way that Nebraska can sell itself that other places just aren't going to have.
Schaefer, let me ask you something. So, you know, this whole due diligence versus being late to the game or whatever that narrative is. And then Nebraska finds themselves clearly in the thick of it. How much of that is there, like some, I don't know, there's got to be some story to, if this were me, there's got to be some story to tell where when you're meeting young people right where they're at, there's something clearly that they're selling, or that's not the right term. You know what I mean? That they're in the presentation that fits or that works. How much of that do you think is going to be good enough to kind of offset some of the volatility of the actual portal market and when it comes to recruiting as a whole, like this culture that guys seem to be wanting to be a part of?
Yeah, I think that you try to present who you are and what you're about as much as you can. I mean, I think one of the things that the staff does well, and they're not the first ones here in Nebraska to kind of do this, but I think it's something that was well received on Thursday. I think it's been well received by other recruits, is that they're largely pretty genuine individuals. Like, what you see is largely what you get. Part of why Matt Rule wants people to come watch practices is so that there's none of this like, hey, that guy who sat in my home is a complete raving lunatic on the sidelines when he's coaching me, and I don't like this, but he's a complete, you know, different person in a recruiting setting. And so I think it's trying to provide as much information about who you are and what you're about, and learning about that other person and if they fit. I mean, I don't think Matt Rule is interested in bringing in people who aren't interested in playing football.
Yep.
If you are here, like Dylan Edwards is a great example, and I don't mean to pick on him specifically, but the running back for Kansas State was a guy that I think Nebraska had interest in, you know, a couple different times. They obviously had an opportunity when he went into the portal from Colorado, but this is someone who has always struck me just in my conversations. He's a nice kid, but his goal is about building a brand, and it's about building the Dylan Edwards brand. And if that comes along with being a successful football player and helping his team win, great. But it's, you know, this is a guy that was telling me about how he was looking to open a Dylan Edwards clothing store when he was in high school. And that's a really awesome goal and super ambitious. But does that fit in the culture of what you want for your team is a question that you would have to ask yourself. And so I think, you know, Nebraska wants to find the guys who care about football first and foremost, and then, you know, build from there. And I just think like that's a really important part of this whole thing. Like, you don't want to upset the apple cart. You want to make sure that you continue to bring in people who are going to pull in the same direction, because you invest this much effort and this much time in building your culture. You want to be really careful about who you let in through the front door.
That's our guy, Mike Schaefer. Good stuff as always, Schaefer. We appreciate it, and thanks for joining us a couple minutes early today.
Thanks,
all right,
Mike.
guys. Thanks for having me on.
Got you for almost 30. You made it. It doesn't seem
Flew right
like,
by.
Doesn't seem like 30. I appreciate.
Well,
it.
I mean, I can talk. That's never been an issue.
Mike Schaefer, we appreciate it.
Thanks, buddy.
See you guys.
Dave from Husker247. Just want to throw this out there. There's a report from Diana Rossini that toward the end of the Giants' regular season, that Shedeur Sanders was number 1 on their draft board.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe when I say it wasn't a talent issue, maybe I'm not crazy. maybe when you're trying to convince me he's a fourth, not you, the royal a fourth, fifth round talent, maybe that's BS. Just something to think about. We'll be back. More Hurrdat Sports Live.
Give me that cheddar, we getting Rico. Big bunny rolls like burritos. Give me that hot sauce, no pico. Give me that.
Yeah, I mean, the transition, we said this earlier in the meeting, was it today or yesterday, that this has been one of the easiest transitions in my entire career, from being a freshman to then now a returner, and now I'm a senior. And you thought that maybe a head coach could rock some things, and she's just been incredibly transparent, and that's helped me a lot with buying into what she has to offer here. So that's made the transition really smooth. But I honestly feel like, to answer your question, that is just the standard of Nebraska volleyball. I think Coach Bill an empire. He made a program so attractive that it will bring some of the greatest athletes in the nation, regardless of who's in charge. And now, a matter of who's in charge, that kind of is the cherry on top. But, I mean, truly, yes, Danny has added a lot, but regardless, we're going to try and go out there and demolish.
The biggest differences you've noticed now at Nebraska?
I would say the biggest differences, I would say here, Nebraska, we have this thing like O-line pride. So if one person messes up, everybody messes up. So if you're not playing to where the whole unit is playing, or where we feel like we should be playing, they're gonna bring you along whether you like it or not. So I feel like when I first got here, I wasn't aware of the tradition and everything, but I feel like they've brought me along, showed me hey, this is how we do things. O-line, we're always together, whether we're out together, we walk into the meeting rooms together, we walk to the weight room together, we do everything as a unit. So I feel like that has impacted me the most since I've been here at Nebraska. So
what was motivating you most during that tractor pull?
Oh, I couldn't even breathe. If you could see, if they have the zoom in, one of the harnesses broke, and it was choking me the whole time. I was like, hey, I guess I'm just down the field. I gotta beat the other man. So I was not losing no matter what the circumstances was. So I just had to see it through. So.
Aspirations can drive us. Sometimes a simple gesture is what fuels the pursuit of a dream. When it's time to make your dream a reality, we are here to help. Centris Federal Credit Union. We are where you are.
You're listening to Hurrdat Sports Live.
We're back here on Hurrdat Sports Live. That's DB. I'm Ravi Lulla here at Hurrdat Sports Bar and Grill. Good stuff there with our guy, Mike Schaefer. As always, enjoy talking to him and enjoy getting the little inside scoop from
The chicken nuggets.
Yeah, little dropping little nugs.
Nuggets.
Yeah.
It's very interesting.
No, I thought it was a good conversation there. I do wonder.
I do too.
I do wonder a lot about how much Nebraska, because I think it would be hard to get people to understand, if you're not from here especially, just what it's like to live here after you play here.
Yeah.
Right? Because it is, I mean, there's negatives with it too, right? But there's a lot of positives.
ST phrase.
Yeah, there's a lot of positives that can go along with having a certain stature here, having played at the university. Like there's definitely some benefits that I do wonder.
Imagine winning a Heisman.
What about almost winning a Heisman?
No, I'm just saying. I mean, I think.
Yeah, I mean,
Crouch and JR.
Yeah. And then obviously Tommy did what Tommy did. But there's a lot of benefits to, and again, those guys, Tommy, Eric, not really NFL careers to speak of, didn't really matter to us, right? That's still, things have gone really well for them here, and not just because they were former Huskers, but there's certainly benefits to it. I wonder how easy that is to communicate to, like, kids as you're bringing them in.
So I don't know, but one of the things I think is really, really important is you have to try.
Yeah.
Especially if you're interested in long-term. Again, it's the fast nickels, or excuse me, the fast dimes versus the long nickels, where it just depends on how you like to count it.
Mm-hmm.
And for young people, sometimes it's hard for them to see. But you always want to equip yourself with the most security possible. And sometimes it's not in the short haul, it's in the long haul.
Yeah.
That's really hard to get young people to see.
Yeah, I'd say.
I mean, you're talking to a guy that literally thought a $3,000 signing bonus in baseball was legit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Legit.
Because how old were you when that happened?
18.
Yeah. 18 years old, $3,000 seems like all the money in the world.
Yeah. It's like we were talking about summer school.
Mm-hmm.
First 5 weeks, take an 8-week session. I'm like, yeah, now that you're going to be off campus, you're going to get paid to go to school. And you're just extrapolating the numbers just to take one class.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, that's 5 weeks, man. Just imagine. To him, and it's great money. Don't get me wrong. Like, it's literally like you do it. You take, I mean, maybe if you want to take one session off, but you for sure need to take pre-session and first 5 of summer school. Just do it.
Mm-hmm.
Take the money. As you get older, I'm like, I don't know, man. If somebody paid me X amount over 5 weeks, it really isn't that much.
Sure.
It's a ton when you're in college.
Yeah.
So I get the degree of difficulty.
No, for sure. And I said this yesterday, right? Where you're sitting here and you go, okay, you're looking at 250 or 500 or 400 or 150 or whatever the numbers are for any specific guy, right? And you sit there and you go, okay, if I'm 18, 19, 20, 21 years old, whether it's 300 or 500, that doesn't set me up for the rest of my life.
Mm-hmm.
It gives me a nice head start, but it doesn't set me up for the rest of my life. I think sometimes you see the number and you go, oh, that's lifelong money. And it's not, right? You got to get into the 7 figures before we're even having that discussion in terms of lifelong money and being able to set yourself up for the rest of your life. Again, can get a really nice head start. But if you're 21 years old, 300 or 500 or 750 or whatever is not lifelong money.
Mm-hmm.
That's good head start money, but you got to get it right the rest of the way too. And so the question isn't, do I take 500 now or 300 now?
This dude said ancient. Wow.
The question is,
we're not boys anymore, Trav. I remember, asked my mom, I was like, oh my gosh, I can buy your Sentra.
Yeah.
So this little Nissan Sentra. I thought that was, my dad was like, you're an idiot.
Man, I'll tell you, sold a car in college. It didn't run anymore. I sold it to a student group because they wanted to use it for like a bash. Like they wanted to like beat it up as a fundraiser.
Mm-hmm.
I sold that thing for like $700. You know how long that $700 lasted me in college?
Yeah.
About the whole damn year.
Oh, I get it.
You know what I mean? Like I was flush with cash, I felt like.
We were getting 59-cent hamburgers and 69-cent cheeseburgers.
Yeah.
Do you remember those days?
I think they were like 79, 89 when I was a kid, but yeah.
Shane, you remember.
I'll take it. I remember the like 20.
When you weren't finding $20
I
flying
remember
kites.
the like 29, 39-cent hard shell tacos at Taco Bell.
Ooh, I do not. That was a thing?
There was a special. They were normally like 69 cents, but every once in a while they do a special for like 39-cent tacos. So I would smash those, man.
We had a conversation yesterday at Zoe's softball game. Because there's a pair of grandparents that know that I like liverwurst.
Mm-hmm.
So they were teasing me about liverwurst, and somehow we got on bologna. And I'm like, oh, man, don't tease me about bologna. Like, good beef bologna is incredible.
Yeah.
And I'm like, do you know they're charging like $6.99, $7.99 a pound for beef bologna now? It used to be the cheapest lunch meat other than I used to tease you about the Carl Buddig, like the super cheap stuff. It used to be the cheapest.
It's the cheapest stuff you can find.
Now, if you go Oscar Mayer, prepackaged, bad, processed, what's all processed?
Yeah, but not the higher end stuff.
It's $6 for Oscar Mayer beef. I'm not even talking about the kind with the red wrapper that looks like your forearm, right? It's like
it's just the regular
regular
cloth.
Peel around thing off, and I'm like, you guys, this shouldn't be $7.
What are we doing here?
It's beef bologna.
But the point is though, like if you sit there and you go, hey, I'm taking 500 over 300, or I'm taking 600 over 250 or whatever, you better be sure, or you better have a plan that wherever you take that check from, whichever check it is, has a plan for you or has opportunities for you to turn that head start into lifelong money.
Yeah.
Right. And if you don't do that, you're doing yourself a disservice. And this isn't just a, hey, I want you to come to Nebraska thing, so I'm giving this pitch or whatever. This is what do I always say when I'm trying to help my friends make decisions?
You process the outcomes.
I want them to know what decision they're making.
Yeah.
Right? This is put everything out on the table. And if that's it and they still make that decision, cool. But I don't want it to be whether it's Marty Brown or Rocco Spindler or whoever else, and you go, or Caleb Benning or whoever, and you go, hey, I got a little dazzled by the big number, and then I'm in this spot that I'm not that happy, or I'm in this spot where, yeah, it's really good for this year, but what does the rest of my life look like, or whatever the case is, right? That's what I'm afraid of when some of these agents get involved, because the agent only gets paid when you get paid.
I know. It's just a cautionary tale. Like, I just want,
like, long money doesn't help them.
Because I want to, I just want to tell guys, and I remember, and I got this from Kugler about like agents and marketing and the business and stuff. And this is a guy that is as clearly as successful as you can be. But he's like, if I had it to do over again, I wouldn't hire an agent. And I was like, wow.
This is a guy that's highly successful.
Right.
About as successful as you can be in the industry.
But he's also extremely smart when it comes to money, and his money is his money.
Not trying to give that away.
Right. And I remember Daryl Green in our rookie symposium was like, anything that you can handle on your own, do that. Right. You don't need a cleaning cert. Like, and now it's almost just the opposite. It's, hey, I got a guy. So we've almost gone backwards to paying for things that we don't need to pay for. We laughed at Lamar Jackson
for having his mom be his agent.
Yeah. Just hire a lawyer to read through the contract verbiage.
Yeah. I made this argument with NBA players all the time, right? Like, if you're a max player, there is defined criteria in the NBA.
Yeah, but you know what those guys have morphed into?
What's that?
Marketing guys.
Sure. And that's fine.
Because now with the CBA, money's kind of locked.
That's what I mean.
It's even like that with the NFL.
That's what I mean, right? So, like, you go into...
They get you endorsement deals.
Sure, which is great. And if they're great at that, sure, have them there. But if you're just like if you're Steph Curry or LeBron James or any of these guys that, hey, I made first team all NBA, this is what I get paid now. Like that's just the number. Anthony Edwards doesn't need an agent to do his NBA deal.
Which, by the way, would you like to take back the precursor to what I walked you through with this series?
Which one?
About Anthony Edwards being the best player in the series.
I said he could be. I didn't think he would be. And he has been.
I don't know if you looked. It's 3-1.
Yeah, that's fine.
Well, because you're not a Lakers fan.
I was wrong.
God, they rot. I hate that team.
It's not great. Probably should have traded for Mark Williams.
Oh, jeez.
I'm saying a center would have been helpful.
No big deal.
Don't have to play Jackson Hayes all the time.
Wow.
That's all, it was right on the table for you. They had actually agreed to that. I don't know if you know this.
See, he's just doubling down.
Charlotte wanted to send him to you. Like, no, go ahead.
That's fine. I
think he actually got to town.
That's fine.
But you're like, nah, Dalton. How much has Dalton Connect played this series? Has it been a lot?
Shane, did anybody hear any change jingling? Like, I didn't put the quarter in.
Don't put that crap on me.
I haven't heard one thing. Jingling.
Jingling.
Yeah, I didn't put the quarter in. I'm not sure why you're still going.
Oh, I was just wondering if you had heard about all that.
Yeah, I'm well aware.
It's would have been nice though to have a.
I don't even recognize what we're doing.
They rot real bad.
No, Anthony Edwards has been the best player in the series. I knew he could be. I just didn't think he would be.
And these series aren't even fun. But the first rounds of the NBA series,
a lot of times they're not.
Never are really.
Honestly, the Knicks Pistons series has been really good.
So isn't it weird how, like, the model is kind of built the same way with the collective bargaining agreement and the salary, the luxury tax in the NBA, and get the first rounds of their playoff series are never like the other major sports.
Yeah,
and it doesn't matter who has the better teams.
It's just weird.
It's just the way it is.
It doesn't get to. It's just something about the NBA that doesn't give me. And maybe this is just anecdotally because I'm
trying
watching.
To think.
Like I'm watching Cleveland. They're plus 122 in the series.
Mm-hmm.
What? What are we talking about?
Yeah, the Heat are bad. The Heat are bad.
Like, what are we talking? Plus 122 though.
The Nuggets. And
you can't play dead.
The Nuggets and Clippers series is good.
So is it just going to be the 4-5s?
Yeah, maybe.
Which makes sense because it's supposed to be the most tightly contested.
I mean, Rockets Warriors has been highly competitive. I do think the bad ones have been bad.
I mean, but are you paying attention to hockey? It's incredible.
No, the games are unbelievable.
Like seedings mean absolutely nothing.
So I think maybe I'm wrong here.
Good chance.
I think the variance in basketball is just less.
Like, do you realize and I told you they would beat the Lightning, but do you realize the Florida Tampa Bay series is 3-1?
Yeah, my Winnipeg Jets are tied at 2.
Yeah, which is super surprising.
So what's the question? Oh man, I don't remember the context of this. But what's the question that we answered, or what was my answer to the question when you said what individual has the greatest impact on their individual sport or game?
I still think you took a quarterback. I said a goalie.
I took goalie. I took hockey goalie.
Okay, then we both said goalie.
Yeah.
I wanted you to be wrong, so I made that up.
I definitely did not say quarterback.
I totally made that up. Isn't that awful?
I think I took quarterback third. I think I took starting pitcher second.
Yeah, you did.
You just were trying to roll me here.
I was. Well, I was still mad from the whole Lakers thing.
Yeah, I think you said quarterback. No, I didn't.
I couldn't even sell it.
I think I said goalie before you did.
You did.
You, Richard.
Devil's in the details. I certainly did try to pull that off.
You really did.
Because you made it seem like you didn't know, so I smelled blood in the water.
No, I was asking you because
Isn't that terrible? I should have sold that better.
That's why.
I'm not good at that.
That's why I think some of these hockey series are so much closer than maybe we would think over the course of the season. Because if you get goalies on heaters, it evens everything else out.
But it's kind of bigger than that, though. I'm with you, but it's like I told Shane. He is I mean, he was like the little engine that could. I could see all these vape trails.
Mm-hmm.
So I knew he was puffing hard because some days you can see like he used to try to blame it on the weather, but it's really on how hard he's actually sucking.
Yeah.
And I'm like, Shane, man, you good? Yeah, the Stars, man. They really needed to score a couple of those when they're battling behind the net. And I'm like, look, man.
And I wasn't too far off, was I?
No, and I said, they're just not grimy enough for what Dallas is doing right now. I do think hockey is the one thing where when you look at knockdowns and hits and how guys can't skate like freely in the neutral zones, like those are things that sometimes they don't have anything to do with talent, and it matters more in hockey.
Sure.
There's just like teams that don't allow you to like free skate.
Yeah.
Like they can hang in there.
I mean, we're seeing
it's bigger than just a goalie, but I do agree with you. A hot goalie is.
It can even out almost everything else.
Well, I know,
but their matchups
because even a pitcher in baseball sometimes has to go to the bully.
Right, and you still have to get a run somewhere.
Like somehow Skeen still loses,
and you still have to get a run somewhere, right?
You know what I mean?
And that's 100%. There's a reason that we moved away from looking at wins and Cy Youngs, right? Because it's not a good indicator.
Well, do thank Zach Greinke for that.
100%. Zach Greinke, and then Felix Rodriguez a couple of years after that. But with basketball, there's just it is kind of with hockey the same way. The matchup.
Greinke 16-12, 15-11, something like that.
I thought he was like 13-11. I don't think he got to 15 wins. It was not a good a Royals team. But like matchup wise, you're even seeing that with Rockets Warriors, right? Being able to move freely versus being kind of inhibited.
Which is how the Rockets have stayed in it.
Yeah, because they can't score.
Yeah.
I mean, outside of Sengun last night.
Again, go back and watch the last 50 seconds of that game.
Oh, they tinkled it down their leg. And Sengun bailed him out on that last shot.
Yeah.
I don't know why he picked up his dribble. I don't know if he didn't think he had enough time, or maybe they wanted to give him a chance to get an offensive rebound because they've been killing him on the boards. So he just wanted to get a shot up, maybe. But he'd been getting to the rack almost at will and bailed him out with like a 14-foot floater.
Are you surprised that Ant just has become that guy at such a young age that isn't about the nonsense?
I'm surprised his shot making has come as long as it did.
Like you could tell that dude really works at his craft.
Absolutely.
And
because you can see the areas where he gets better.
And he's mean-spirited.
Yeah. He's got a lot of FU in him. A lot.
Have you ever heard of a guy
that
doesn't want to deal with baby mama drama? So you just scratch a check off
for all the alimony at once, or for all the child support at once?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's a different that's a different type of
I mean, did you really feel that trapped?
It's a different approach, apparently.
Nah, I'm not messing with it. Like here. How much is that going to be? Can somebody calculate that for me?
Yeah, somebody added up over 18 years. All right, done.
This not going to be distracted, huh?
Yeah, I mean, I could suggest some cheaper alternatives on the front end, but never mind. It's not a big deal.
Well, I still kind of want him to parent, but if it ain't that type of party, I guess.
If it ain't that type of party. No, but then there's a big difference between the kind of FU that's in Anthony Edwards and the kind of FU that's in Dylan Brooks. Because I hate Dylan Brooks.
Apparently Jimmy Butler does too. Don't ask him those questions at the podium.
Dylan Brooks and like Pat Beverly.
So have you seen any of the Florida-Tampa series?
Yeah, a little bit.
A lot of FU in that.
Yeah.
Like Florida's just not having it.
So you want to talk about something that I'll let you get away with if you're a certain level of talented? It's having that FU in you. Because if you're not about that life.
That's why you like Pedro.
Yes, because he's about that life. And he's good enough to back it up. Anthony Edwards is about that life, and he's good enough to back it up. Dylan Brooks doesn't know he's not that good.
I used to be so – you know why I don't like Pedro?
Why?
This is terrible because it's what guys did.
He's one of my favorites of all time.
Yeah, Pedro would earhole you. I'm like,
yeah,
you're going to get somebody hurt. And he's like, hey, man, I'm 5'6". I'm 128. Like, I throw hard. I want to get off the plate.
He felt like he had to.
Get off the plate.
He felt like he had to.
I'm like, Pedro, you're going to get hurt. Somebody's going to get hurt. No. So I never really loved that, even though that's typically something I would gravitate towards.
And it was super common in the era.
Yeah. I mean,
like he was not an outlier.
Yeah. Well, who was my favorite that era? It was
Late 90s?
It was Roger Clemens.
Yeah, he was as bad as anybody.
I'm a huge Clemens
He
guy.
threw a bat at a guy.
Oh, yeah. And it was my guy they threw it at.
Piazza?
Too. Yeah.
Yeah. You're a Piazza guy?
He's a Dodger.
I mean, kind of. Well, he was drafted by him.
I don't know if you know the Godson and the
I know. It's a Tommy
86th round and
62nd.
The whole,
doing him a favor and I get it. Didn't really come
again. No quarter. No quarter to pile on.
Did I get that 62nd round right? Because I think I did.
Yeah, it is. It is.
Yeah, nailed it.
That's fine.
I guess I'm the real. Piazza guy here.
So KP, who are you cheering for
in the series?
Yeah, I bet you he's a Blues guy.
Think so?
Yeah, because of the way they play. Jets might be a little too high flying. I think he's pretty blue collar.
A little grimy.
Yeah. But yeah, see, Winnipeg is having the same problem.
Yeah, they're having a hard time freezing.
And Hellebuck's been pulled twice.
Which is, what did I ask? What did I ask Eddie?
I know.
But he's worried about the President's Cup, or more worried
he's
about
rolling
the
with Winnipeg. That's interesting.
That's what I mean.
They can skate, but they're not very tough right now.
No.
But that's like you knew that they could score. You just thought they would get better goaltending.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that was the thing I was worried about. Worried about the goaltending.
Oh, he's still going to win the Vezina.
Yeah, that's a regular season award. That's what I'm worried about.
Yeah, right.
A lot of people are good in the regular season.
Oh, my man, that's my team.
Penguins?
Is that funny that he's a Pens fan?
It's kind of ironic.
Yeah, that's the guys. And it's funny too because I cheer for his NFL team. He's
Steelers.
He's a Bills guy.
Yeah, Bills.
Oh, why do
you know my favorite team? But the Bills are the only team in the NFL that I don't care if they win the Super Bowl.
Why?
Because they're likable.
Why?
I don't know.
Just because they've been losers?
No, that's a little too linear.
Blue collar?
They remind me of a good college team. And I like their quarterback.
You like Josh Allen, yeah. I didn't mean this version, but like historically, that's been a losing franchise.
Yeah, I don't know if
that's
if the Bills won the Super Bowl, yeah. I would probably actually be happy.
Okay, because I felt. Listen, I'm not a Cubs fan by any means, but in 2016, I felt some kind of way when they won.
The Bills are the only team where I watched Josh Allen score and the Steelers not try and Minka Fitzpatrick jog, and I could actually laugh at it. I'm like, yeah, these guys are ready to go home.
Yeah,
that was embarrassing.
Not great.
It was embarrassing.
Big Minka guy.
Actually, I am.
Yeah.
I like Minka Fitzpatrick.
Yeah.
But I like to run. Like I that's funny. He does not strike me as a Pens guy either.
David said Bills fans are close to Husker fans.
Maybe that's it.
Maybe. I don't know. I probably don't know enough about Bills fans to.
I mean, they're all shook. They do rally.
Yeah. They do.
I've heard
Well, we saw it with the DeMar Hamlin thing. We saw with, they
Foreman says it.
Sure.
Harrison Phillips says it. Like that's a tight-knit fan base. But that's the only team in the NFL where I'm like, yeah, whatever.
Travis says, I feel zero joy nor happiness for any team other than my own winning a championship.
See, Damon, it's okay to have two teams like having Detroit. I mean,
listen, Trav, he's preaching to the choir.
Yeah, I'm not really like that.
He's preaching to the choir. I am my teams, or I don't cheer for any of that. The Bills are the one exception.
So I'm not a cheer for conferences guy generally.
I'm not.
Although I was rooting on the SEC's downfall this year. After I said they were.
Well, it's easy to cheer against.
Yes, that's different than like, oh, I'm a Big Ten honk or whatever, right? Yeah. Especially in basketball, I don't care about that at all. But
don't you want your conference to do better?
No,
though?
Shane.
I don't care about that.
I don't care. About
I really
that.
don't. I will. There are certain teams that I find myself, like I've told the Andy Reid story before where I just liked him and wanted him to get a Super Bowl.
I only really feel like that about one coach.
Who?
And he's already won.
Who?
He's not ours.
Yeah.
But I'm a big McVay guy.
Oh, okay, sure. Yeah.
I'm a big McVay guy.
I like if I like the way somebody operates, or if
I like O'Connell too.
Oh, in Minnesota. Yeah, you do love him.
I like O'Connell too.
Stylistically, if I like something, like I really was rooting for the 14 Spurs over the Heat. I loved how they play basketball, and so I was.
That's stupid.
No, it's not. They played beautiful basketball. Beautiful. It was incredible.
It's easy. You can say things like this because you're married to people and not teams. Like,
not just people though. Like stylists. I was married to. I loved how they played basketball. That had nothing to do really with any individual on the team. It really didn't. I couldn't have cared less about Kawhi or Tim Duncan or Manu or Tony Parker or Danny Green or
big Pop guy.
Tiago Splitter. I do like Pop. I think he's a really good coach.
He is, but there aren't a lot of
unbelievable.
The shtick just got old with the in-game interviews.
No, it did. I agree.
I agree. That was not enjoyable.
I thought it was annoying. I thought that part of it was annoying. I agree. But as a coach, I really loved the way he put those teams together or helped put those teams together, how he coached them. But there's a lot of stuff like that where if I'm a fan of a certain style, I'll root for that over a team that I think like there's a reason I'll always root against teams like St. John's.
I don't get it.
I'll always root against teams that play college basketball the way St. John's does.
Why don't you just root for your teams?
Because I like
root for the Cubbies.
Because I like the sport, especially like if I like rooting for the service academies, not because I'm like some big military guy. It's because I like watching triple option football still.
Big Georgia Tech guy back in the day?
I did. I really enjoyed when Georgia Tech was running triple option.
If you're watching an NBA game.
They won an Orange Bowl doing that. I had a good time.
And it's two teams that you wouldn't normally root for. Do you have to root for a team if you're just watching?
Who'd they win the Orange Bowl
two
against?
Random teams?
I don't remember.
Dummy. What?
If you're watching NBA, Ravi, and it's just two random teams, is there going to be somebody there that you just root for naturally?
No, not necessarily.
Not necessarily? Okay.
No, it just depends on what it is. Right? There's players on a lot of teams that I either like or don't like or whatever, but it's not like set in stone. I don't have to have a rooting interest to watch. Sometimes I just watch. You know?
Yeah. Okay.
What? Are you gonna scold me because I don't fan?
No,
right?
I'm not gonna tell you how to fan. I just think it's interesting. I don't think. The Spurs have never been on my radar, but oh my gosh, they play beautiful basketball. I'm gonna go.
I used to hate the Spurs because I thought they played,
which makes even less sense.
They played such ugly basketball,
which makes even less sense.
No, because they changed stylistically. There's certain things I want to see in the way a team plays, and the Spurs fit that perfectly in 2014. They played great basketball. I loved it. That was one of my favorite teams to watch. Was the 2014 Spurs, and I have no emotional investment in that team whatsoever. But I loved watching that team play.
Yeah, I just don't get it.
I don't know. I like basketball, man. You can't tell me like if there's a team.
I kind of like Christian's analogy though.
What do you say?
He says, if I always go to visit my buddy that works at McDonald's and he gets a job at BK, I'm switching to the Whopper. I don't care who pays him.
That's how I feel about Curry.
I don't know, man. I don't know.
That's how I feel about Curry. If Curry
I
ever
love the analogy. I don't know if I can get down like that.
If Curry ever left Golden State, peace. I'm out. Curry's my guy. You know that.
That's okay. I get it. I get it. But
I was a Jordan guy, so I was a Bulls guy. I'm
just telling you, if
so I was a
Roethlisberger
Lakers
went
guy.
to Jacksonville, I'm out.
Yeah, Roethlisberger's a loser.
What?
As a person,
I don't know what
you don't want to. Roethlisberger was a bad example. Who's your favorite Steeler of all time?
Probably Lambert or Troy Polamalu.
So Polamalu, you'd have a harder time than Roethlisberger. I'm not saying
if Polamalu went to Los Angeles to play for the Chargers, he's dead to me.
Okay, all right.
He just is.
If Curry went and played anywhere else, I'm a Curry guy.
I'm not rolling with you.
That's fine.
I'm not.
That's just how it is.
That's why we're not friends.
That's what you tell people.
That is a funny analogy, though. Whopper's greater than Big Macs, though. I think he should have started with BK.
We can get into the fast food wars tomorrow.
Are you taking a Big Mac over a Whopper? I'm talking like the good classic 90s Whopper, not the shrunken one now that's more like a double cheese.
We have to talk about eras. We've got to talk about different menu items, because there's definitely BK menu items I will take over McDonald's and vice versa. But if we're going like classic 90s Whopper, maybe. If we're talking about my breakfast selections when I was in high school, definitely riding with BK. There's just, it depends. Much like with the players, I'm not riding with one brand or the other. I'm riding with the menu items.
Yeah, flip a coin, man.
What
way's the wind blowing for my man Ray Vi?
No, I'm very principled. It's just not the principles you care about. It's a difference.
Loyalty.
Hey, I'm loyal to the soil. I'm my guy Steph Curry.
That's about it.
Yeah, some other
I don't
stuff.
get to how he's just your one ride or die.
Dude, he's been my guy since the beginning. Again, stylistically, though, I love the way he plays basketball. That's why I like Steph Curry so much. I love the way that dude plays basketball. That's it. It's not
Gotta
that.
keep watering the bamboo.
It's not that.
I
much.
was joking with him about that Saturday.
About the bamboo?
Yeah. He said, you like that one, huh?
Gotta keep watering the bamboo.
I said, yeah, man, I need that on a T-shirt. We got to add that to the
We
repertoire.
should. Hey, boss man, keep watering the bamboo. Let's go.
Gotta keep watering the bamboo.
We'll scratch a little royalty off to him every time we sell one or something. I don't know
cool.
how it works.
You don't need no money.
Hey, we always need the money. That's what you told me.
Good point.
That's what you told me.
Touche. Who doesn't need the money?
He doesn't need the money.
You're just getting in somebody else's pocket right now.
Yeah, my bad.
That's DB. I'm Ravi Lulla. We'll be back tomorrow. More Hurrdat Sports Live.
See you. Have a good day. Love you.